everybody, and welcome back to We Bought a Mic, a pop culture flubcast. Here for Good Mic Hunting, a series on the films of Mr. Robin Williams, esteemed actor, esteemed scientist, professor. God bless you.
Thank you.
Flub bless you.
Flub bless me. Thank you. Flub, thank you.
Welcome to the show, everyone. We're getting green. We're getting
Jiggly.
Schlubbly.
We are we're
Wiggling?
elastic. We are
flying rubbery.
We are what are all the things that he describes as Flubber whenever he has this whole scene where he's describing
You're the guy
him?
that writes down all these long ass quotes.
I wrote down more important quotes. Don't you worry about that.
Welcome to the show. My name's Ernest.
I'm here to steal your fiance and make her my wife. My name is Hunter.
We'll elaborate on that in a sec.
I'm Drew.
Whom is that directed towards? That could be literally anybody here.
It's true.
And joining us today, very special guest. Welcome back to the show, Gaia. How you doing?
Good. I just want to say this now before Drew does. Flubber, I hardly know her. Thank you.
Damn.
Oh.
Yeah. Shit,
I
that's good.
forgot.
That's really
Gotta
good.
squeeze her in there.
So-
It's been a minute, Gaia, since we've had
Since
you on the show.
G-Force.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was. It feels like maybe not that long, but it feels like a long time.
It
It's been a
How
year.
long did we? Okay,
one of
it
the
was
most
last year.
popular episodes of the We Bought a Mic's
Obviously.
illustrious
I could
history.
have told you that.
Mm-hmm.
The G-Force content was strong.
We're in the depths of Robin right now, and that was the depths of Nick, and so it feels like we're in an entire new lifetime right now.
The dog days of Flubber.
So Flubber, we're talking Flubber. Maybe a lot more in common with G-Force than we think.
No,
Yeah.
I did during the Flubber Mambo. There's a point when they were all moving, and I was like, "Wow, if this were guinea pigs, this is pretty much what happened."
Literally,
to G-Force.
yeah.
If only, like,
If this was Bugs, it would be Cats.
Could
the
we
movie.
do an edit of the Black Eyed Peas? I've got a feeling over the Flubber Mambo, and then it really would just feel right at home.
Danny Elfman didn't have to go this hard.
But he did that for us.
He could have just cashed his check. You know, when this movie starts and you hear the kind of the overture, if you will, I was like, man, I'm getting a lot of kind of Men in Black vibes from this.
I'm getting a lot of Raimi trilogy Spider-Man vibes here.
And lo and behold, right there, I was waiting for it because, you know, we get an opening credit sequence. I'm like, there it is. The man himself.
We don't just get an opening credit sequence. We get, I want to say 14 minutes just based on how long it felt of science jargon
In the clouds.
in the clouds.
Yeah.
Nope has got nothing on these science clouds.
Man.
And we don't just get, Danny Elfman gets 2 credits
Right.
in these opening credits because he gets original music composed by Danny Elfman. And he also gets The Flubber Mambo by Danny Elfman.
He was like,
Incredible.
you're putting them both.
Yeah.
You were putting both in the beginning credits.
per
This
per
deserves
my
a credit.
contract, per my last email. So we were talking before we started, Guy, that your lovely husband here.
Wait,
We
what? Who
the
is that?
one of the greatest things that Drew did as best man at his wedding was make sure that he was at the wedding.
I did, Drew. I really want to thank you because after watching Flubber, I see that like it could have happened to me 3 times.
It
Well,
is,
here's the
it's
thing.
not. It's not a guarantee that the groom goes to every wedding, and
Yeah.
I'm tired of our
The
modern
stigma?
media landscape
Okay.
acting like men can just go places.
All right. So let's just go out here. Let's just get the cat out of the bag here. Drew was not the first best man at one of my weddings, but every time that I missed a wedding, I
Yeah.
had to pick a different person to be my best
Yeah,
man.
because the last one like quit.
Yeah. Well, the first one was this robot that I invented. And, like, I didn't know that she was in love with me. I thought that she was a very helpful floating robot that I constructed.
she was absolutely horny as fuck.
She did like force project into a woman and project herself over my bedside a few times, but I just kept waking up and going, Eureka!
We should-
in
so
the middle of a dream.
I
and
have a
if
lot of questions about all that.
Flubber is sort of the type of movie that you definitely remember the Flubber part, and then if you haven't seen it since you were a kid, like this might all sound like nonsense because it is, but this is all in the movie.
No, that's exactly how I felt because I was like, when I was rewatching it the other day, I was like, Like, what the fuck?
It's not
Where's
All I
Flubber?
remembered was Flubber dancing and him shaking his butt. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a lot of that in this movie.
You get
I got like
none.
6 minutes of it total.
There's no
And I spent
Flubber.
an hour and a half watching this, like, man who's definitely needs mental help miss his wedding a lot.
He
It was
is.
sad.
He's
How-
unforgivably weird in this movie.
How
It
disabled-
is not okay.
Are we allowed to say that Robin Williams' character
Well,
is...
he's neuroatypical.
Okay.
He
needs a lot of
He is
help.
an ultra mega genius. He has ADHD.
Which is fine because, okay, he does try to do things to help himself. He's like, I will give these reminders to my robot, but it just, the robot wants to fuck
But
him
the
so
problem
much.
is that he programmed this
can't.
robot to be a little bit too horny.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe he made it
But
at a
even
sadder
after
point in his
she
life.
has, I'm sorry, even after she has left and she has created the backup of herself and is like, I took out my flaws, he still can't make it to his wedding. So like, it didn't matter that he made this horny robot. Nothing mattered. He was never gonna go.
He zoomed in, which was all we could really expect.
Yeah.
Flubber is the craziest. It is the craziest children's, like, I guess you could call it big budget for a kids movie back then. That's not
Mhm.
fully animated. Like big cast, big studio. Fucking John Hughes wrote it.
The man.
John Hughes
Really?
entering his like needing to go away era.
Yeah, kind of. It's beyond losing the fastball at this point.
It made 100.
It's Ben Roethlisberger last year.
Yeah, off an
is
80
where
budget.
we're at with
So 80 mil
That's
budget. Yeah,
crazy.
made 180. Like the sell of it is great. It's based on a 1961 movie called The Absent-Minded Professor.
Which just gets autoplayed after this.
Yeah,
on
if you
Disney
watch it on
Plus.
Disney Plus, it'll come on afterward. I recommend anyone who watches Flubber to watch that movie. It really informs a lot that goes on in Flubber. A lot of the things that happen in Flubber where you're like, this doesn't make any sense. It's because they're trying to do something playful with the original
Mhm.
source content. However, the craziest shit in Flubber has absolutely nothing to do with the original. They decided to throw in this horny robot. There's, you know what that,
Interesting.
you know who,
There's no analog at
No.
all.
do you know who the doctor's best friend is in the movie? The friend, the companion that follows him around everywhere like this robot does? It's a dog.
Hey.
And the dog isn't
Does the
smart.
dog
Is the
like
dog
him
like-
the way we
Yeah,
does?
does the
dog
Like,
is-
what up?
the dog like
It's implied.
dog
absent-minded
is-
professor like puts peanut butter on himself and just has it.
The dog is like trying to sabotage the wedding.
It's so the biggest mindfuck, like inexplicable element of the whole movie is entirely created by John Hughes. Why did he do it? Why did he do that?
So I have a
Well, guys,
question
why did he do that?
because we talked about it on the Jack episode about how like Tropic Thunder like literally made an entire bit about like you never go full Jack.
Mhm.
And really, like, this movie is so much more unhinged than even Jack
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, because in Jack is at least like he's playing a child. Like there's the conceit of he's a
He
10-year-old
goes too
boy.
far of just playing a child, but like, what is he doing?
But
in
in
this
in,
movie?
in Father's Day, we saw that character that Robin was playing was like dealing with some type of mental disability. Like, and it's very broad, which makes it like, you know, even more offensive than it otherwise could be, because it's just like you're just doing a blanket like semi-schizophrenia mania something that we're not really going to nail down. And it's kind of a similar type of situation in this movie where it's just like this guy clearly has some type of problem, but
Yeah.
we're not really going to put a pin in what it is.
I would say a big problem. The reason it doesn't work for me in this movie because the movie starts, like you said, you get like 20 minutes of just like straight jargon from Robin. He is not speaking in human sentences. Everything he's saying is so hyper stylized and like thesaurus pilled, you know, like I'm just thinking of John Hughes, like
He's a professor. He has a bow tie.
so the reason it doesn't work is because Robin Williams isn't inherently charismatic. He's charismatic because of who he is and how he can act.
Mhm.
But if he's not acting charismatic, he doesn't necessarily look charismatic. So you lose any reason to like him really quickly in this movie. You're really quickly like, I hate this guy a lot.
I'm seeing Drew doesn't understand the brilliance of Flubber,
Well, I do want to point out one thing.
and I'm
So,
shocked and disappointed.
I made a list of 5 things that made me very angry when I watched Flubber, and I want to read
Should
them
we do
to
it?
you.
Go
Should
ahead.
we do it now?
Yeah.
I just want to get it
Top
out.
5
there so we
things
can,
that make
we
you
can,
angry
you know,
about
You
touch
seem
on
really
them.
upset.
The first thing, it's like in the first like minute. I wrote, he sucks. Invention that crushes one coffee bean at a time made me mad. What the fuck was that? You're a professor. You're like so smart. You made Flubber, and like you cannot make like you can't just buy a coffee grinder. You can't make a coffee grinder.
grinder's more
You have a
efficient.
machine that like slams one coffee bean at a time. So that was angry.
Wait, real quick before we leave that thought,
Oh yeah, we don't. Have
I want to
leave it.
talk about all
The whole
of the
structure of this
breakfast
podcast should be
inventions.
based around your list.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Like you
Well-
list one and then we do 20 minutes.
So
Analyze it.
I could have written down so many more notes just about everything in his breakfast setup because, like, in theory, it looks sick.
Yeah.
But
And it's fun. It's fun directing. It's like Pee-wee's Playhouse
It's-
or the other movie that does that. What's the other one?
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. No, but like it just made me laugh. In particular, the pancake machine, the way that it looks and the sound effect it does is like straight up. You know, from Teletubbies when it like poops
Yeah.
out the little like
custard.
patties, the custard. Yeah, there we go. That's what it just looks like.
Mm.
This whole thing,
And
but
it's perfectly shaped. There's
Yeah.
like no flaws in it.
just right on the skillet, which I
Yeah.
guess he just leaves the oven on and just like
Of
or the
course he does.
stove
He's
top on. And
absent-minded.
that
Why would
Look.
he remember to turn off the oven? He can't go to his own wedding.
If I had an AI that could make me a perfect plate of breakfast every single morning, I might act up. All right.
He'd be like,
Lee, get the
Taking
fuck
the ring
out of
back.
here.
Honestly,
I'm
what
not making it to the wedding.
Weebo
I'm making Flubber.
Weebo could throw it back.
Yo, Weebo was like kind of dummy thick though. Like we don't want to acknowledge like
So-
she's curvy in all the right
So yeah,
ways.
Robin has this robot sidekick he made, which is really way more impressive of a technology than Flubber even is.
It's a fully
It's
like
the most
conscious
remarkable
AI.
technology on Earth in this Earth too, in that universe. This movie is set in the 90s, and it has this weird throwback 50s feel to it because they're trying to like harken back to the original movie, but it just makes it feel creepy.
The
Like,
movie's like from the 30s though.
but it's set current. No, it's 61.
61.
Yeah,
Okay. It feels.
so this movie is set in the 90s, except like Marcia Gay Harden is speaking with a transatlantic accent for no reason, and like people are wearing like hoop skirts and shit. It doesn't. They did like halfway 60s, but it's not set in the 60s. It's a complete fuck up to me.
It also doesn't make sense. Like, I was thinking while watching it, I'm like, wow, like, Weebo is this incredible invention. Why don't you sell that to someone?
Exactly.
To save the school. Why
he
did
has
you have to
created-
do all this for Flubber, which is destroying your life? People are breaking into
Yes,
your home. Sell
he-
the robot that wants to, like,
He has
marry
created
you.
a sentient robot that also like invented like reaction gifs.
Yeah, no.
Weebo just
Yeah,
Bumblebee,
with
reaction
stole,
cartoons.
Bumblebee stole its whole fucking bit
Yeah.
from Weebo. And it is, you're right, because there's two options here. Is that either A, Robin Williams invented like the her robot that can just fully like
yeah, very her vibes.
mimic like having feelings and like falling
Yeah.
in love and stuff like
a
that.
little Ex
Or-
Machina, little Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, or he created a robot that actually did gain full sentience. Either way, this is the most powerful inventor in the history of
Yeah,
mankind.
it's Skynet.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, before you read the next item on your list, can you just tell us, because we do this with every guest, your overall thoughts on Robin Williams? Is this kind of like your main Robin movie? Is this why you picked it? Or do you have kind of any other big Robin kind of milestones that you gravitate towards?
I feel like this is kind of it. I mean, my dad's like a huge Robin Williams fan. Like, that's his favorite actor. So he's always like watching those movies. But Flubber was always like, oh, we have to watch Flubber. Like, I need Flubber.
We have
Flubber.
to.
Like,
it worked. The whole thing of it was like funny little green guy for kid.
I did watch Hook recently with Hunter.
It's a solid
It
little
made
movie.
me cry really hard.
Spielberg, yeah.
What else? Yeah, I don't know.
Doubtfire,
Jumanji.
Jumanji.
That hurts. That's painful. Watching him be old made me so sad. Even if it's resolved in the end, I don't believe that.
Wow.
Have you caught any of the other ones that we've been watching for the series?
I know you saw Father's Day. Well, at least it
Hated
existed
that.
while you were. I was just
that
like,
was weird.
yeah, no.
I didn't like that, but I do love.
you
Robin
were in the
so
room with
much.
me whenever we watched Father's Day, and I think at the very beginning you saw Robin Williams like in a joking scene have a gun in his mouth,
Yeah,
threaten to
I
kill himself,
didn't.
and
I
it's
really
like,
didn't
oh,
like that. I
maybe
was
we
just like,
shouldn't.
no,
Maybe
so I
we
just like got on my
yeah,
phone.
it's crazy. It all those movies and this movie especially really speak toward something that I think he didn't quite figure out about himself. Which it's kind of what I said earlier. Like he is so naturally warm and like capable of acting warmly that like that's what we associate him with. But you really never feel it more than when he's not warm, because
Yeah.
then you really run into a character like this where immediately he forgot his wedding. It's also not the first time he's forgotten his wedding.
It's weird to watch him and not be like on his side,
Yeah,
and him not to be likable.
exactly. And
it feels uncomfortable.
Every word he says it sucks, and also because it's Robin trying to play a weirdo. He's not likable. He's not the guy in the original movie. He looks like a movie star and like sounds and acts like a movie star. So like even when he's being annoying, you're like, wow, cool guy. You know, Robin is capable of removing all of that because he's just talented. Like he brings all of that with acting, not just with like natural, like what he is. So I hate his bitch ass so much in this movie. It's almost like Mrs.
I feel
Doubtfire.
like you hate him so much more than like I don't know. Like I was just kind of like okay, but like the robot, like in the first half, he got me. Not gonna lie, because I'm like okay, like this is the robot's like thing like to blame. Like it's not like him.
There's a moment in this movie when I realized there was a cartoon. Like it's just a live action cartoon.
Was it the bowling ball moment?
It was. It was.
That was just triggering for me from working at a bowling alley. I was like I can't get away from it.
It was. Let's see what I wrote down. I wrote down.
It is a cartoon.
3 times left at the altar ? Is he disabled ? This is a cartoon. Disabled. And then right after that, Home Alone burglars.
Yes.
Because,
yeah. So yeah, John Hughes loves some like unbelievably stupid stooges, and he loves torturing them like beyond belief.
I wonder if he had like there was like a home invasion when he was younger, and he was like, I gotta get them back.
Yeah, because he has like he's working out demons in these movies.
I will say, I miss Goons in films.
What happened to Goons?
We should bring back Goons. I think that I missed my calling. If I was born like 20 years earlier, I would have been a great Goon.
Hunter said last night he wanted to go to Goon school.
I want to go to Goon school. I want to like.
It's like Sky High.
I want to graduate. I want to like graduate with like a major, a bachelor's in Goonology with like a specialty in like mischief or something.
Yeah.
You have to
concentration.
You don't call
burglary.
My concentration is burglary.
You don't call your teacher
antics.
like Mr. You call them boss. I think you and me as like dumb goons.
Yeah, I think we would make just.
I'm
wearing an origami angel
They're
shirt
just
right
standing up for no reason.
Can I be the dean of this Goon school?
You're the boss.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
No, I'm not teaching. I'm not on the payroll of the
You're
staff.
a non-employee.
I'm the dean.
I'm picturing Drew and I just basically like a Mice and Men style, just going around. Just hoping for this.
I'm imagining us as the two guys in the Safe Touch commercials on the radio. Boss, so hey boss, they have that new Safe Touch security system. We're not getting in there.
Oh, I hate Safe Touch. That's me. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Those guys have a great podcast. Definitely tune
The next
in.
podcast, can you guys just be in that character the whole time?
Absolutely.
So yeah, we get introduced to like a big group of villains.
Yeah,
it's like too many people.
Also, why is
first
the
you're
son
like,
involved?
do I not like the robot?
Because his son's in the original, and it like makes more sense in the original. But in this movie, it's just like a vestigial
It's
like
just too much tuna.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's like those animals that have a tail but they don't need it. It's just because evolution.
That scene when the kid walks in and he's like, I was supposed to get straight A's, and then the goons come in.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought this was a movie about Flubber.
Where's the Flubber? Where's the Flubber?
Because there's already so much conflict in him, like being a terrible fiance that has missed 3 weddings. Like that's a whole movie,
Yeah,
right?
Of course,
there's a
and
lot
also
of plots.
Christopher McDonald is bridging the gap of both of these plot lines because he is a villain, like he's in with the goons, but also he is stealing Marcia Gay Harden. For what reason? I don't know. Because she kind of sucks too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
she's
okay.
like a wet blanket.
I
She's not
honestly-
very-
she's really lame.
So as bad as Robin is in this movie, like you just have to think what we don't see on screen, she has to be so much worse that she's that desperate for this man. That she's like, yeah, no, it's totally worth me getting stood up.
I mean, she's
4 times.
She's a weirdo too, because she's like another very smart professor. But she is, like I said, she's speaking in transatlantic voice, and it's like really bugging me the whole movie because she also like she has like a fucking, she has like the big like almost beehive. It's like, what year do you want me to think we're in? And she's sort of, she's boring. Christopher McDonald is great. I
He's
love
very
him.
hot.
Scooter McGavin.
Good
Wow.
for him.
Yeah.
He's, I don't know why.
Okay.
Even as a kid, I was like, that
No,
guy.
you're onto something.
I am.
In the TV show Hacks, he is a much older man.
Can you look at just give me a genre of his photos, a
He's just
timeline of
he's only
sorts?
ever been that guy in every movie.
But in
He's only
his
ever been-
older,
He's always been 45.
He's always a dick
he was born
boss.
45.
in Hacks,
yeah.
in Hacks, he has settled into a 60 plus pushing 70 look.
Yeah.
And it suits him really well. And the character that he is playing is you can tell he still gets
He's
he still
yeah.
gets
Look at that.
it.
Running through it.
He's
looking
because
nice.
he be kind of fucking with Gene Smart. And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, go for it, Gene.
She's in love with him.
yeah, and
She's
I wouldn't tell
Look at
Gene to
him.
just fuck anyone.
I don't like when Flubber shoots out of his butthole.
Flubber.
I know this
That
is for
was
the kids, but
really
he was a child.
upsetting.
I
I wish
didn't
that
think it was
Flubber
a nice touch.
shot into his butt.
So that's another moment that comes a lot later, but it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
The problem is it needs to just be a cartoon then, because it doesn't feel right. Being live action, but having these weird lack of stakes of injury and stuff. That works in Home Alone, where the two goons in that movie are getting pretty brutally injured and just keep getting up. But that's about it. In this movie, a lot of really horrendous stuff happens to people. The bowling ball flies to the sky, comes down at terminal velocity, probably hundreds of miles an hour, and it hits them and goes dunk.
Robin throws himself out a window, and that fall would kill any man.
Yeah,
or
because
it would
Flubber falls
snap
out of
your
his
spine.
pocket, and he
Yeah.
just lands on his back, just owie.
It's like Looney Tunes. It's literally it's a
Honestly,
guy
yeah.
getting crushed by an anvil.
Yeah,
it
and
shouldn't exist.
I guess the issue with that is that makes sense in movies that are more integrated with cartoons, like if you were doing Roger Rabbit or something, because there is a cartoon. Flubber's hardly in it, and he's also less of a cartoon than that. He is pretty, he's 3D. He's meant to be of the real world.
I feel like we've had this criticism on a number of Robin Williams movies now, because I know for a fact we said the same thing about Popeye, where it's they're trying so hard to make this live action, yet it still is trying to be a cartoon and feel like a cartoon. But it ends up in this really weird kind of this uncanny valley between
and
the
it's
two.
also a lot of it is a John Hughesy thing, where as John Hughes's career went on, I'm sure most people are familiar with this man's filmography, but it's one of the most iconic filmographies.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not greatest, but
Breakfast Club,
almost
16
every
Candles.
almost every iconic teen movie of the 80s. He goes into the 90s and he shits out Home Alone, which is and Home Alone 2, which are just internationally some of the biggest children's movies ever. And as he goes along, his movies get more and more condescending to me. He thinks less and less of children to me.
Just of his audience in general.
Yeah. I was watching it he must think that kids are really stupid. And he's right. Because I remember enjoying the Flubber part.
But it wasn't enough. I just can't. Maybe it's because being a child having a short attention span, but I didn't realize how much I had blocked out.
you just don't
I
remember
only
it.
thought about Flubber, and I feel almost I made up in my head Flubber was way bigger, because then when I watched it
Yeah.
recently, I was where is he?
He's
Where
tiny.
is he?
He's really small.
Not even that big, but just he's big in my heart, and I thought he was gonna be all over the movie. I don't know, and I thought with the resolution, there was gonna be more than him just kind of splatting against the window they just keep traumatizing that child, which is a very funny storyline. I love that. That was actually, I think, the best part of the movie.
That kid grows up to be Jeff Bezos or something.
the Joker.
Yeah.
Ben
Probably.
Shapiro.
no place in between those two.
So it just, I think that a huge fix for this movie that would fix this issue, the Flubber problem. We need to talk about Flubber. Part of the reason that the little Flubber dance sequence is cool is because Flubber is personified in it. It has a form that has a sort of a head and a body.
Yeah, and there's girl
You're seeing it move
Flubber.
around, and it has
There's
Sexy.
lots
She's
of
salsa.
Flubbers.
and because of that,
Flubettes, if you will.
it seems sentient, it's moving around and stuff. You can tell it's
And he's making little noises.
Why doesn't the Flubber just kind of have that in this movie? Why isn't the Flubber a little bit more of a thing?
Yeah.
The Flubber in this movie is pretty just it's a plot device. It's whatever he needs it to be in that moment.
Right.
What if the Flubber could kind of make little little noises to
Yeah.
communicate?
I wish he was more of a sidekick. I
It
wish
needs
that
to-
instead
yeah,
of Weebo,
it's not
I
a
wish it would be
character.
Flubber.
Exactly. Yeah, the Flubber is just an item in the movie,
Well,
except for that one part.
I wouldn't take Weebo out of the movie because Weebo...
That made you horny. That made you want to act up.
Well, there's too much Weebo. Once we start to get into Weebo becoming a real girl, I was
what the hell?
I
is going
thought I
on?
was watching Flubber. Like, where is Flubber? But the fact that there is like this snarky, like kind of psychotic robot that sabotages the wedding because she wants the man to herself. That's a great wrinkle in the story. I don't mind that at all. When the movie starts to become all about that is when it's just like, why wasn't this movie called Weebo?
It's also the tonal imbalance because they're trying to go for this cartoon like slapstick 3-year-old type thing, which by the way, that's not demeaning. It's like slapstick is, funny if it's good, but like that, but then a really emotionally complex situation with like a robot, like what is human, it's asking these types of questions. There, you have to like meet in the middle of those two things.
I also don't like how they never really like. There's no like resolution of Weebo deleting these events in the calendar, leading to like the breakup. Like,
well,
yeah,
really, it's just like we had to have empathy for her dying.
It's because she gets that one like retribution moment where
because she goes to her house at night,
exactly,
but, like,
which is weird.
That's still not like she still was like baiting Robin Williams' character into showing his feelings, and that's some redemption, but like she really was like ruining this man's life.
Why does she have an arc?
I don't like it.
Why does Weebo have a whole like?
Weebo's got too much. There's more
really
character development in
strange.
Weebo than anyone else in the movie, which is weird.
Weebo also, the visuals have held up really great. By the way, Weebo looks awesome.
Yeah. Weebo looks better than Flubber in some.
They must have built a real robot and just kind of
had it on like a.
I think it's really like superimposed.
Yeah. There's some shots that
but
don't look as good as others, but it still
so
does hold up.
Hold on though. What's number 2 on your list?
Thank you for asking. So 2 and 3 are both about Sarah because she
That's
drove
the
me up
fiance.
a fucking wall. Yeah.
Marcia Gay Harden.
Number 2. How did Sarah not notice that Weebo was praying for her downfall? Girls always know when another bitch wants their man, and then I put the side-eye emoji.
I had that same thought.
I know as soon as someone likes Hunter, I spot it, and I'm like, no, that's weird. You got stood up at your wedding 3 times and didn't notice, hey, this man who has super bad ADHD, should I just be at his house before the wedding and drive him myself?
No, she can't be at his house before the wedding because she's working.
Oh, actually, here, part number 3. Why are you putting your wedding dress on at school in your office? That made me really mad. I was like, so you both are spending too much time at your job.
I thought about this.
They don't live together, right?
Yeah, no, they don't live
never
together.
had sex.
It's again, it's like a very like
kissed.
50s nuclear family type thing, but we were set in the 90s for no reason at all.
Here's my theory.
Why was her dress on at work? Why didn't she? She has a house. We see that she has a home.
She's a little neuroatypical.
Well, I have a theory
made
about
for
this.
each
I've been thinking about this. I think that on the first wedding that they originally scheduled,
this is my theory. Yeah.
They both took the day off. They were fully planned. They had a rehearsal dinner. They had the day off. She was ready to go. Maybe even round 2, she took the day off. I think that round 3 wedding, she's like, fuck it. I'm not going to take off. I'm not going to use any leave.
She used all her PTO because he kept standing her up.
Exactly.
It's like you go from attempt number 1, it's like 99.99% chance that this wedding is going to happen. Attempt number 2, it's like, all right, maybe 50, 55.
Yeah,
like we'll keep it
pretty
hopeful.
dramatically.
We'll keep it on the hopeful side. Attempt number 3, it's like I'm working with like 10, 20%. Like
are people even coming to this wedding? Like,
no.
At this point, like, why would you?
Can you imagine being like her sister? You're like, you gotta get
or
away.
like a really old grandparent. They're like, I'm not gonna be around much longer. Like, this is it, and they're just like, wow, like you really like he needs to show up.
Yeah. Like, guy,
work.
you're a bridesmaid. Like, this is like one of your best friends, and you. It's like try number 4.
Well, we're stepping on the categories with that one. With what would you?
That's
do.
a great. Yeah, never mind.
But yeah, the scene that you mentioned of when the robot comes in through the window, the way Sarah greets the robot was like, I know this is a cartoon and like we're not really supposed to think critically about it, but the lightning bolt that went off in my brain was like, bitch, you better slap this robot out of your window now.
And she's like, so just like ready to be like, yeah, just come in. Let me just open my screen. Like, so like casual about it. And I was just like, don't you think, like, wouldn't you be mad at her too? Just like, I don't know. Like, I would just be mad just her being associated with the man that keeps missing my wedding. I was just like, I don't want you in my house.
And just walking in through your window like
and
that.
showing
just
a video.
floating in.
Just
a
floating
video
on
of him
in.
confessing his love. It's like, if he likes me so much, show up to the wedding. or the last 3.
Yeah. Well, to that point, when she like ascends to robot heaven or whatever the fuck happens there,
Chrome hell.
she's like a Blade Runner, her Hal from 2001. I don't even know what the fuck is going on, but she professes her love to Robin, and Sarah's sitting right there, and it's just like.
Yeah.
Lady, come on.
And then agrees to be like, yeah, we'll raise her little Weebet baby. She can call me mommy.
Yeah.
Flubber's her brother. Like,
Again,
what?
how down bad is Sarah right now? I want to know what Sarah's life is like outside the confines of this movie, because it's got to be like so sad.
I think it's actually maybe it's not about her life so much as it is about the fact that Professor Brainerd has great dick.
I don't think they've ever
Robin?
had sex.
You think
Yeah.
he's lame?
No,
Look at
but
that.
she goes to McDonald like immediately. She's pouring bottles of wine like within 48 hours
I
of
think-
calling off the wedding.
Okay, so the other option, it's either A, she's down bad, which I think there's an element of that regardless. B is that she's so smart that she's like, this guy is literally the smartest person who's ever existed.
Yeah.
I need to lock this shit down
Right.
before like he actually does have a big break and then just gets like some other.
Well, she jumps
chick.
right back on it when the flying car comes in the picture. She's like, "Oh, I'm ready to
like, well,
let's go
He
attempt
does have
number
a flying
4."
car, so I
Yeah.
guess that's it.
Can I?
I'd overlook some things
What?
if somebody showed
I
up with
found
if you showed
something.
up with flying car.
Go ahead.
So I was sitting here thinking, there's fan fiction of everything.
Oh no.
Yeah, let's go,
And
baby.
So on
Weebo,
Archive of
Did
Our
you
Own,
find this on your notes app?
it's definitely, when I read the description, it is gonna sound like something I wrote, but it's not me. I promise. I wish. Professor Brainerd's 4th wedding. The summary is: after failing to get Sarah back, Professor Brainerd settles for a relationship with the one person who has always been there for him.
Yep.
Even if that person is a robot he invented.
Yeah, of course.
Is there fan art to go along with this?
He marries.
No, but a note from the author says, "Happy birthday." That doesn't make sense. And then it says, also, someone should take away my Disney Plus subscription, because this is what happens when I have access to a bunch of movies/shows I have otherwise never would have ever heard of.
This is what happens
Ew. Oh,
when
so
I get to
see
watch kids
The
movies.
end of the work for more notes. There's another note that says, this is probably the 3rd worst thing I've written after the Minions and Sue's Canal Fix. Fucking
Whoa.
what?
All right,
Sue's Canal Fix.
we need
Man,
to
It's
I
a
need to
Minions
read
Sue's
more.
Canal crossover.
We have to give credit to this artist. So
They are, what's their name? The Lavender Creator.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So we're gonna be doing some
This is not
some
compared to
light
my
reading
fan
before
fiction.
sexy time tonight.
12 inches apart, 625. It's me and 625. We work at a Subway restaurant.
From Lilo and Stitch.
65 from the Lilo and
Yeah,
Stitch
oh, I'm sorry.
television
Everyone
series.
obviously already knows that, Drew. So.
Yeah, that's
Experiment 626.
625, 626 is Stitch.
So,
Oh, sorry.
another issue that I have with this,
With the cartoon
I'm going to
movie
start
Flubber.
everything that I say. I'm going to start with that. The plot line that's driving what Robin is up to in this movie is not just Marcia Gay Harden. It's that he works for this dinky, shitty little college for some reason.
That's getting shut down.
This is the smartest man
we
who's ever
find
lived.
out.
The thing is also he would be an awful professor though.
Well,
Oh,
for
he literally walks into the wrong class.
Oh my
So,
And they're
so
naked. And
that's
I'm
a
just like,
whole-
this is normal.
Oh,
Dude,
okay.
I forgot how
I wanted to crawl
I
out of my
was
skin when I was
so
watching it. I
mad.
literally put my head under the
I-
pillow because I was like, why
I was
are you
just
not
like
noticing?
I was like, okay, let's just
it
okay.
lasts for way too long.
Where's
this
the
scene.
get to the joke?
It lasts for way too long.
Fuck.
I have so many questions. What is this school? What? So
it's a liberal arts college.
It's not quite Ivy League, but like also this man could just be a professor at a smarter school. But if you looked at their basketball team, it makes you think that it's just
I
like
think
a
it's
school
just like-
full of nerds.
I feel like it's like a community college almost. Like it because like the good school is the one that they all work at. Like the villains
Rutland.
are behind.
yeah. Then
So-
why? So, but the billionaire's son again. His dad is a billionaire. I hate to like break news on this podcast, but you can just buy your way into any college. Like
Not
that's
if you're
fine.
Lori Laughlin and you go
Not
to
Well,
prison.
that's- so
in the
he-
90s, you could.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the
you're right.
pre Lori Laughlin.
Is this am I getting it right that Professor Brainerd works at one shitty college and then everyone
Sarah.
every villain and then I thought that Sarah also worked at the good one, but no.
No,
Look.
Sarah works at the
the
college
shitty
with
one,
them.
but then-
yeah.
How does the evil guy know Sarah? If he works at Rutland and that's the rival school, how do How
They
does he know?
all go way back.
There's an exposition dump the first time that we meet Christopher McDonald, where he's just like, the difference between you and me is I'll never have your smarts, but I know how to sell your ideas.
And here's the other thing with that is he has way better ideas for what to do with Flubber. He wants to like solve the energy crisis with Flubber. If you actually listen to what he's saying.
Yeah, Robin Williams is like, tires go high.
Yeah, Robin's like, haha, my
let me go to Ford.
He also does the basketball thing because
That's also like just doesn't make sense. If you want to get your
It's
girlfriend back, why
stupid.
is cheating gonna help?
it's also
it's cool.
Space Jam just came out a year earlier.
Yeah.
We are right
But
in
they
the
must
height
have
of
been
Michael
filming-
Jordan.
Well, no,
exactly.
So I don't know if they necessarily knew like Space Jam was doing the same kind of thing because Space Jam came out in '96.
Yeah, but
Flubber
Michael
came out
Jordan
97.
was in the air.
It's
Yeah,
not
but,
that
like,
though. It's because the
I don't
original
know.
movie does this.
Yeah, that's what Guy was
It's all
saying
over
too.
the
Is that
original.
there is basketball.
Yeah,
So-
it's still the same thing about the basketball.
Well, no,
using
Jerry
Flubber.
West.
The thing is though, in the original movie, it makes a lot of sense because this guy like really like Professor Brandon in that movie like stands his college. He like roots for them. He's like, oh, I want to fuck over this other college. I want to beat their ass. In this movie, he doesn't care about basketball at all.
He doesn't really know anything about basketball.
He's
really.
literally just like, I need to prove to Sarah that Flubber's real, and she will believe. He also thinks that she will like see this. Well, and also he's right. She should see this and be like, oh, the Flubber's real.
Yeah, also she's just like, this is normal, even though like Chris McDonald's literally screaming like, that's obviously cheating, and she's like, oh, shut up. Like,
Yeah, it makes more sense in the
Look,
original because he really gives a shit
about-
about
I did
his game.
say- I
Like,
did-
It feels way more natural.
I did write down my notes that using Flubber in a basketball game is kind of Belichickian. That it's bending the rules. It's like, well, there isn't a rule that I can't use Flubber.
Yeah,
There isn't a rule that I can't film the other team's practice.
the ref is like, there ain't no rule that says you can't jump too high.
and the guy's like throwing his whole body through the net at the end, and they're like, yeah, that's totally
That's
fine.
fine.
They're like,
These people are
cool,
seeing the craziest basketball that any person has ever witnessed.
and they're just
But
like,
to be
yeah,
fair,
good score,
The team
good
is
2
so bad because
points.
they're so nerdy that they're
Yeah.
just so excited they finally
They
won.
get
They
one.
don't care how. They're
Exactly.
like, these guys are
What if-
losers.
Right.
I just wish that my ass was so fat that I could just follow my ass and then propel my body forward 27 feet in the air to go
Remember
score a
in
bucket.
when they're in like the library of the rich evil mansion, and it's the big fight sequence where they use Flubber to win, which I know this all sounds fake.
What
That
a
was
real
like-
sentence.
And then Robin Williams does this thing where he, like rubs Flubber on his ass. So
Everyone
off.
bounces off his ass.
he's like going back and forth. I don't know, man. That was kind of cool.
Well,
So-
they need to.
I
They
like
need
that
to
Flubber
find.
sequence.
What they're doing is they need to find sequences to incorporate Flubber into the story without actually doing any type of heavy VFX. So
or like heavy like writing.
no, but the cream, like the whole cream thing is like, how do we do Flubber without actually showing Flubber?
So that's actually
'Cause-
number 4 on my list is freaking me out that he's using crystallized Flubber and mixing with hand cream and doing things like rubbing Flubber all over bowling ball. Why did he do that?
is the Flubber in pain when it is divided that
Well,
much?
yeah, I want to zoom in on the
It is a
cream.
They're
million-
probably
and
probably all
it's like,
Flubber Mambo.
yeah, it's
probably
like all
just, like,
tiny.
wiggling.
So
Yeah.
that's
Little
the thing.
guys.
Flubber's like, I just don't have the energy of Mambo today. I've
Stop,
been split
stop.
apart
That
too many
makes me
times.
sad.
It sort of leads into how I think the Flubber should have more sentience because the Flubber does what he wants it to do. So it clearly has a mind. Like when he puts Flubber on like his hand or foot or whatever, he becomes the world's best hacky sacker. That doesn't make sense unless the Flubber is helping him.
Yeah.
You know,
Also,
because
when
the Flubber naturally would just make it go high or whatever.
You know the chamber when like the Flubber chamber when he's like in the library and he's like checking in. He's like, "Are you okay?" And Flubber's kind of like looking around nervously and like makes a little noise. It's like we're finally getting like some sort of emotion. Like Flubber's has thoughts and feelings. Like
Yeah.
he's acknowledging like Flubber could be scared.
Right.
Exactly.
They didn't say that the whole movie.
No, why isn't Flubber
That the
a
whole
fucking
movie should
character?
be about that. The movie's called Flubber.
It's called-
Should
there's
be- it
such
should be
little
about
Flubber.
It feels so simple, right?
So
It feels like I don't know.
skipping ahead a little bit to the Flubber Mambo,
Yes.
which is
That we
by
can
far
circle
the
back
best
to.
part of the movie.
an incredible. We're going to talk about it. I have a special category for this podcast. But the Flubber Mambo. You're right. It might be one of the best moments of the entire movie, and I have a theory about it.
Elfman goes in,
Elfman, he did not have
pops
to go that
pops
hard.
off.
What's a
I have-
category?
It's at the end we give out like little awards.
Oh.
Look,
for-
yeah, little awards,
Okay.
superlatives.
You didn't prep your wife on the
I'm
details of the
Listen,
fucking
To be
cage you're
fair,
going
I
I don't
recently
need to
rediscovered
prep
Neopets,
my
so
wife,
we've been talking
Ernest.
a lot.
She's a human being. She can prepare herself if she wants to.
And I won't.
Yeah. So the Flubber Mambo. I have a theory about this, that this whole scene was just tacked on in post. This was all just added in there.
They
because
realized
they took the first cut of this movie and Disney was like, cool, that's fun, nice time, John, and whoever the hell, who's the director of this movie?
John Hughes.
No, Les
Oh.
Mayfield.
Oh,
Les
sorry.
Mayfield.
So Hughes just wrote it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
him and a guy named Bill Walsh.
He
not
dictated
not
it.
related
No
to
relation.
not related to the athlete.
He dictated it out loud, and somebody else wrote it down.
Sure. This scene has no bearing on anything in the rest of the movie.
Well,
It
everyone's
feels-
home alone.
It feels like a scene that should have like a Cat in the Hat style moment where they get home and the whole house is wrecked because Weebo let Flubber out.
They don't.
But they just, there's no consequences to it whatsoever.
No.
So it feels like they like took the first cut of this movie and they're like, that's cool, fun family film that you made here, Les. Where's Flubber? And so then they're like, they had to call back up their buddy Danny and say, hey, do you got a banger in you?
Yeah,
Do you
fuck
got a
yeah,
mambo
exactly.
in you?
They didn't even call Hughes or anyone. There's no writing
There's
in it.
no writing. There's no actors.
They just called
in
up the
entire-
VFX team and they were like, "Hey, remember how you were supposed to do the Flubber? Just do that. For
Just
like
do that.
Two and a half
have like
minutes.
a lot of little flubbers dancing. We're gonna have a very tiny like theater seating spot where little flubbers are gonna watch more little flubbers do a synchronized dance. It rocks. It also
It's
makes
great.
no sense where it comes in the movie.
It does. It's silliness. The movie just feels pretty disjointed in general.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's brilliant.
It's just confusing. Like this is gonna sound annoying, but the whole movie I was thinking of that one quote that's like it's supposed to be like a Michelangelo quote where it's about sculptures and it's like, oh, making a sculpture is easy. I take the block and then I remove everything that's not the sculpture.
Mhm.
Like
Easy. You get David.
That's what you're supposed to do. Like you Flubber, like you start with Flubber and like stupid professor and you remove everything else. This isn't the movie, man. Like this is not, the fat is not trimmed off of this thing. Like the whole movie is just like really, really weird, superfluous material that has nothing to do with the entire selling point, which by the way, also, it's not like it's just like, oh, the Flubber, that would get old. No, it wouldn't. That's cool as hell. You can make 5 movies
It's
of
only
Flubber.
an hour and a half long movie too. Like
It's
Yeah.
short.
it's like a short
Also,
movie. They
there's-
can fit Flubber in.
There's like a very basic like dumb brain enjoyment of guys getting knocked around through
Yeah.
But
windows.
there's
dumb
not
guys.
enough of that either. It's
It's
only for like a
Goons.
very short, like everything that has potential to be very good. You get very little of that, and then weird dragged out parts of Robin Williams not knowing what the fuck is going on.
Look,
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of a measurement here.
All right.
Last night I saw the movie Bodies, Bodies, Bodies,
Oh, how was
which
it?
objectively is a better movie than this, but I enjoyed a lot less than Flubber.
But
I had
Yeah,
more
because there's no
fun.
Okay.
Flubber, and like Pete Davidson cannot be Flubber,
Here's the
but Flubber
thing.
could be Pete Davidson. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
exactly
of
right.
course.
Okay.
who's hotter though? Christopher McDonald and Flubber or Lee Pace and Bodies, Bodies, Bodies?
100,000,000% Lee Pace.
Well, who's hotter? Lee Pace, who is 6'5", by the way, for the audience at home.
Hunter's been really into Lee
a
Pace
god
lately.
amongst men.
Yeah,
Continue.
He finally,
It-
he
hey,
finally
it
came
didn't-
out
it hasn't
publicly that
started
he's
in these-
married.
Yeah.
I forget the dude's name, but good for
It
Lee.
He came out that he's a sex bomb.
came out that he's 6'5".
Hunter said there's a shirt that says Lee Pace is 6'5", and he wanted to buy
Yeah,
it.
shout out to Super Yaki for making shirts and booty shorts that say
Yep.
Lee Pace is 6'5".
Are they like Hoochie Daddy shorts, like
I
5-inch
hope
seam
so.
or shorter?
Baby,
Those
I
need to be
hope
like
so.
a 3-inch seam.
Bodies, bodies, bodies needed more Lee Pace, just like Flubber needs more Flubber.
Yup.
Mm.
Yeah, because it's in the title, Bodies.
Lee Pace,
when,
yeah.
when you say that,
Bodies.
I'm like, oh, so Lee
Yeah.
Pace.
When you say bodies, I'm thinking
It's
of
very
Lee
small in
Pace's body.
parentheses, but it's like says bodies, 6'5".
So I had a big question, kind of going back to a conversation we had before we started recording, which is the birth of Flubber. which we realized makes him a
Scorpio.
Scorpio.
We're
Interesting.
assuming.
Yeah, we did some.
There's
did
no
some analysis
confirmed
here.
month and date, but we
But
have a
it's based off
general
vibes,
season.
Really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Attitude.
Yeah, he seems like he stalks people online a lot, and he's very emotional.
Well, I do want to.
Um,
Okay, I want to be inclusive here about the correct pronouns for Flubber, because we have established that Flubber is a they them.
He's the he/they of the day.
He, they, she.
Yeah, Flubber takes many forms.
Right. Infinite
so-
forms. So here's my question. This movie starts out pretty quickly with the birth of Flubber, which I'm very happy about. I'm happy that within the first few minutes we get Flubber action.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'm
You're
strapping
thinking,
in.
Fuck Sarah. I hope he doesn't go to this wedding because I want to see him make Flubber.
Also, Flubber's in your house, so why would you leave your house? I want to hold Flubber. I want to see Flubber. Sarah's
Yeah.
weird.
Sorry,
Right.
Sarah.
Flubber's cool.
So here's the question. Was he trying to make Flubber, or is Flubber a horrible freak accident? Is
Definitely
it
a freak
specified?
accident.
Freak accident, but
Yeah.
then he started tweaking the freak accident to make exactly what he wanted, is my guess.
Because it's not specified like what he's trying to do. It's just a bunch of nonsense on a computer screen. He's like, oh, if we combine the elasticity.
It's so annoying.
It makes.
The amount of jargon he says.
I have a
Drew's
couple
favorite
of
movie.
quotes
Drew,
pulled up
everything
here,
Drew
and I
says
was like,
about Flubber is
no, I
good.
don't wanna-
Nice. Drew loved it.
It's just
I hate that photo, Hunter. Hunter has this photo of when he's stretching Flubber over his face.
I'm gonna send
Yes.
this photo to you guys of it's the Robin
That's
Williams
awful.
stretching his face
Yes.
for Flubber.
Oh,
It's
that
so good.
is, I think, Mambo aside, the best part of this whole movie.
that's
I
one
didn't
of the
like it because I
nominees.
feel like he was
That's
like
one of
molesting Flubber.
I have
I
a-
didn't appreciate.
I have one of the categories is going to be best Flubberism, and this is one of the nominees. on there.
best line by Flubber.
Best use of Flubber.
Man, I wish I would have known. I would have made Flubber awards.
Man,
got time.
Damn.
we got some
Um,
time.
You got time.
Another weird thing that I noticed. This is like as an aside. Weird directing choice. I guess it kind of plays into the idea that this is just a cartoon, but so many scenes are clearly they're shot on set. Like they are shooting in an empty basketball stadium when he first enters or whatever. But it is lit so harshly that it looks like it's a green screen.
Yeah.
And I cannot imagine deciding to do that on purpose because it looks so jarring. There are scenes where Robin is squinting and you can tell it's because there's a huge key light right above his head and
Yeah.
then no fill light. It's so harsh.
Well, are you referring specifically to the scenes in that mansion?
The mansion, the basketball stadium, and then the lab. They all.
Okay, yeah.
If you pay attention to
Because
the
the
lighting,
mansion more so than anything else is like that could have been a mansion for all I know, but it just looks like
It
a
looks
set.
bad.
No, that could either way. Even if it's a set, though, you could light it like normally. It's it's like he's like shiny in this movie in a lot of scenes. He's so like you have to. You're like Jesus, Robin.
So this guy Les Mayfield, who made this movie,
Run through the.
not exactly the most iconic or prestigious filmography I'd say in the world. He made a bunch of like TV shorts and documentary featurettes and stuff. Like his first role was a documentary short about 2010. The sequel that they made to 2001.
Nice.
He made a documentary based on the sequel that is
Okay.
maligned.
It was it's on the character that inspired the toy.
He made Encino Man, which is have you guys ever seen Encino Man? It's about the caveman.
It's Pauly Shore, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. It's about like a frozen caveman. Or no, it's Pauly Shore, Sean Astin. It's not very
Sounds like a
good from
banger.
what I remember about it. Miracle on 34th Street.
The remake.
Yeah, remake. I think that I've seen this one. I don't really have any thoughts on it. And then he made Flubber, Blue Streak, and then his last movie that he made was in 2007. Movie name, codename: The Cleaner.
Is that part of the Mr. Clean cinematic universe?
It is a Cedric the Entertainer film.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is a very 2007 movie.
So you're thinking like, oh, John Hughes? This is a John Hughes film? It's like, well, not
of.
quite. Not
Almost.
really.
So going back to the 2010 connection. I brought up Hal, the evil AI from 2001. Is Hal a more evil AI than Weebo? Where does Weebo rank in the pantheon of evil AIs?
Weebo, the thing is, they do give Weebo a redemption arc.
I don't give a fuck.
It's just not good enough of an arc. You know, it doesn't make you forgive her.
Weebo is a psychopath.
Yeah. I hate that Robin made me cry over her. Like, if Robin Williams was in the movie, I would not have cried. I would be like, I'm glad you're fucking dead. But because it's Robin, I was, like, actually crying last night in bed watching Flubber.
What
he was really, like, that. They really played that scene out. Like,
I did write that down. That was one of my notes.
So dramatic.
Robin's really fucking crying about this robot.
Yeah. Like, Robin acted the hell out of
just like,
that.
I just need to plug you in. Like, you need to be charged. I was, like, literally like, oh, my God. I was, like, holding my dog.
And they really, they put, like, 5 minutes into her dying.
I was mostly crying because I thought the movie was about Flubber.
Would this movie have been better if Flubber was fully sentient and then Flubber's like, all right, Weebo, I need to come back inside. And Weebo's like, I can't do that, Flubber. And just Flubber has to.
I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Flubber.
Flubber's trying to actually make sure that Robin Williams gets to his marriage on time.
It is nice, like, you know, with like Awakenings, it was like, wow, we got to see Robin and Robert De Niro act together. We did get to see Robin act with Flubber before he died.
God, thank God.
One other thing I wanted to bring up is with the flying car. We haven't talked enough about the flying car, but like
it really
it comes up way too much.
That's the type of thing where like in the original movie, it's like, yeah, that would be the craziest thing you could think of in 1961. Yeah. It's like in the 90s, like that's no longer.
Like, but like
Back
the
to the
floating
Future
robot
existed.
that's in love with you. That's not.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to touch on that. That's like very.
No,
normal.
I'm gonna make my freaking Model T. Fucking.
It's no.
So why does he drive that? You would think he would drive like a jalopy. Like, does he have time to look at nice cars?
No, he's just like, I want a T-bird. Like, that's what he's doing with his.
It's a nice car. The thing is, though, that in a post Back to the Future world, every scene with this flying car is like, man, you're just trying to be Bobby Z right now.
Yeah, audiences are like, I don't need to see a car fly. I saw a car go back in time. Like, that's you're not going to become a more iconic car traveling movie.
Yeah, but the scene where they're kind of like him and Weebo are kind of having a little bit of a romantic moment in the clouds. A little bit of Aladdin vibes here. I can show you the world. I thought something might happen there. I thought I was going to have to,
like some Roadhead or like some Sky.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have to cover
the way she uses like clips to react. She starts using porn on her screen. She's like moaning.
So, wait, I want to talk about...
He's like using that Flubber hand cream. And we're like, no.
So, guys,
that would technically be a three-way then with Flubber.
Oh, I don't think he's probably trying to kill Flubber.
Are we bringing him into the situation?
Because Flubber
that's his son. So, as established at the end of the movie.
Wait, does that mean that Christopher McDonald like broke Flubber's virginity?
Out of his
I think Flubber broke Christopher McDonald's virginity.
Flubber violated Christopher McDonald.
Shot out of there.
That man should have perished in that moment.
He might have. You don't see him again. Maybe he's
shot out
dead.
his damn asshole.
What if, as you know, you see the newspaper at the end that's just like local man saves
obituary
coolant on the
is all of
backside.
them.
It's just like man's asshole exploded by flying rubber.
Like, yeah, it is. Like, my mouth was fucking open watching that. I was like, the Flubber is going through his whole colon.
McDonald.
I was hoping to come out of his mouth, but I just knew it didn't. I was just like, please let me misremember this part.
Explodes out of his butt.
Come out of his mouth. Flubber,
McDonald acts the shit out of that scene.
Huh?
He does. His eyes.
I love him.
Huge.
Yeah,
It's so good.
Shooter McGavin, he's a fucking legend.
Yeah, he's like, it's like, all right, buddy, you got flying rubber, you got Flubber all
in your
up,
colon.
down, going all the
Up in
way
them
down.
guts.
Go, action. Nailed it. Absolutely fucking nailed
Imagine you had shrimp from a gas station. Go.
it. Imagine you went to an oyster restaurant in Florida.
But like,
And the AC's out. It's been out
landlocked
for
Florida.
hours.
He's so good. I mean, that's really, if we want to talk about what's good in this movie, it's the villains getting owned. Like, it's always good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Goons.
And
Goons, we
Flubber
didn't even
Mambo.
mention who the Goons are because they're literally Buffalo Bill and Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
together.
Wait, Mr. Krabs?
The voice of Mr. Krabs is the other guy.
What? I thought you were just doing the
The
Ugga
Ted
thing because
No.
you were like doing that. I don't know. I just was like,
You
that's
thought it was
No,
fine.
it's
random.
there.
I could go
No,
get
it's
it.
literally them.
It's literally that guy. What's his name? He has the coolest name on earth.
Oh, Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown.
To be fair,
Yeah.
when I watch SpongeBob, like, I
It's-
want Mr. Krabs to get his ass beat because he
Right.
sucks. So like, it's
He's a
good.
capitalist.
He's MAGA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
actually just watched the SpongeBob movie again this week.
Classic.
Oh,
And,
nice.
Oh,
first of all, it's awesome.
it holds up incredibly well.
But yeah,
the
we were-
women-
All of early SpongeBob is held up like beautifully. Like it's
Yeah.
still really fucking
I think
funny.
that was the
and-
first movie me and Hunter watched together.
Aw.
Was the SpongeBob movie?
Was it
Cute.
Well, it took us a few
look at that.
times.
Did you ever have the yellow DVD box?
You bet your ass.
I had the
did.
slide whistle, the recorder. Did you guys ever get the SpongeBob recorder from the Borders bookstore?
Oh wow,
No.
In like 2004. Yeah.
this is incredible.
It had an accident though. Like I used to play it all the time. And then one day I came home from school and my parents said it had an accident.
Was
Then-
it what did it have
The
like
accident
SpongeBob
was-
on it?
Yeah, it was yellow and like looked like SpongeBob and it was a recorder. And since I used to play it, my parents got rid of it.
Oh man,
I think
They were like, "You're not supposed to play it."
I love a good merch
I think my
spotlight.
grandma bought it for me to haunt them.
Was there any Flubber merch?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So last night I was like, hey, like, 'cause I wanted to make a Flubber shirt for this and I didn't get around to it.
You are
But-
wearing a for any audio listeners, Clown of the Month
Yeah.
T-shirt.
I got
Clown
this
of the
from
month.
do you know like how hard it is to put like the water in the flour you spray people with, or
Mhm.
like how hard it is to put a bald cap on where only part of your hair shows? So I really deserve this.
Yeah,
shirt.
where you just have hair only sticking
the
out the
sides,
sides. Yeah.
So
Oh, but,
Flubber merch.
Yeah, so I went on eBay last night because I was like, I wonder if I can just find some general Flubber shirts. They range like shirts that just have Flubber on it or say Flubber. It's like $250 to $500. Let me bring up some examples.
Why?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. There's also like Flubber McDonald's toys.
To get merch
I-
from like when it actually dropped is like
the OG
Yeah,
prints. Yeah.
But like it's like very, very boring.
But
shirts.
maybe
So
there's like
annoying.
a crowd of like Flubber heads out there that are just riding
I
the
hope-
I think
price
it's just
up.
I
You
get
know
really
the-
high and then I bet against myself and then I forget the next day, so I bet against myself again.
You guys know from the How to a John Wilson episode where there's the Navi Avatar
yeah.
cultists.
Yes.
I hope that there's people out there that are like Flubberites who have like learned to like read his grunts and groans for
Right.
like actual Flubber
So this
Flubber
shirt-
language.
It's just purple. It says Disney's Flubber. $250.
Okay.
Purple shirt.
I feel like that might just be standard.
$2,000 out the door.
for out the door.
Yeah, there's this one where it's like Flubber has hands. I really don't appreciate this one because this doesn't feel like actually Flubber. It's a black shirt, Flubber with hands, Flubber hands, flans, and it just says Flubber, Disney's Flubber, and that one is $250 as well.
What about this? This is an OG, but it's a Flubber Christmas ornament.
Oh,
Okay.
That's really
I love
good.
that.
I do
And-
like
Etsy?
that.
with
Yeah.
Drew, can you send that to me?
sunglasses.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my god, I love
That is
that.
very cute.
That's
Flubber
very
on a
good.
little
Hunter, I wish we would have had
platform.
something like that for our wedding
He's like,
cake.
he's on like a
if
VHS
only.
of Flubber, actually.
It looks yummy. It looks like a cake. Is that cake? Is
Would-
it cake?
It might be a cake topper.
Is it? It's cake.
I would eat the Flubber.
No.
Okay. Okay,
you-
this
Oh,
is
wait, I
the
do
question.
No,
wanna
but
point something
Flubber's
out really
coming out
quick.
the other end, though, is the problem if you're eating Flubber.
To people at home, I do want to say I do have 2 copies of Flubber on VHS. It's the only duplicate movies Hunter and I have in our house, and I refuse to part with either of them.
Well, you need one for posterity because you're gonna burn the other one out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I like to sleep with one under my pillow, and then I have
Yeah.
one inside
The
of the
Flubber fairy
VCR.
comes.
But it's like I can't just like take it out and hold the case because it's too lightweight. It's like a weighted blanket for me. Is my Flubber VHS?
Yeah,
I
you
put it on my
can't
chest.
just lay
and I
on an
sleep.
empty VHS
Yeah,
case.
Yeah,
I
of
make it go
course.
crush.
Yeah, because it's the plastic. It's not like the cardboard
No,
sleeve.
it's like It's like the good one.
the
I was
crunchy
like,
case.
yeah, it's good.
It
I
has
have,
the
I have a
Crunchy
good one.
case.
Is it a green tape?
No.
No,
Black, but
they
the-
really missed out on a
Waste.
golden
Absolute
opportunity.
waste.
You know, that was only a thing in like the early 2000s.
All
I
the
can remember,
Nickelodeon
like-
was orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nickelodeon was the big one.
I
And
feel
some
like
Disney was blue.
I'm
sometimes,
pretty sure
right?
that I have-
sometimes it was. It
Not
didn't
always.
always
I'm
happen,
pretty
yeah.
sure that I have a SpongeBob, going back to SpongeBob, a VHS of like the first 12 episodes or something like that. It was a yellow
Yes.
VHS tape.
yes.
Do we have that in our house now? No.
I don't know. I don't know
I don't
what
think- I don't think I've
happened
seen
to
it
it.
there.
I I did want to bring a clown thing up real quick
Thank
before I
God.
forget.
Yeah, please.
Lee and I were watching Malcolm in the Middle the other night, and there is a heavy clown sequence. Have you seen this? It's like season 2,
No.
episode 2. It's the mom's birthday, and everyone forgets, and they all end up at a batting range where she's just like taking out her anger.
I do remember that, but I don't remember the clowns.
Yeah, there's just suddenly clowns, and they all get into a fight with each other, and you should watch it.
Something
it's great.
clown related I do want to bring up. So a few months ago I got an office job, and I was like, oh, this sucks, you know, like what can I do to make my day better? So I went on Etsy and I ordered a miniature desk to put on my desk and a miniature chair, and I have my clown. Let me show you a picture. Her name is Elsie, little clown. And then when I ordered the desk off Etsy, they sent me a little wine glass and little glasses. They fit my clown perfectly.
You're gonna have to send so many pictures to Ernest for the audience
Look at
listening
this.
on YouTube because
Holy
She sits at my
shit.
desk.
It's a
People
little
come by and see her. They
clown
leave her little notes. And then my roommate got
Incredible.
me, shout out to Christine, friend of the pod, got me a little
Guest
tiny
of the
miniature
pod.
teddy bear that's smaller than Elsie. So she's
Yeah,
a
it
little
looks-
teddy bear at work. Yeah.
Looks like a Paddington.
Yeah, but like
type.
in comparison, there it is on the desk.
Yeah.
it's very good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's changed my life. I'm gonna get her a
Beautiful.
little laptop so she can do like reports with me.
Oh well, she'll help
She
you out.
might as well
Assistant.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do some research.
All right. So a couple kind of final points here before we go to the categories. This movie has a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is shocking.
Too high or too low?
Way too low.
Yeah, I don't understand it being that low.
Yeah, let's see. The consensus is with its overactive focus on special effects and tiresome slapstick, Flubber squanders the immense talents of its cast and crew. Yeah.
They can't blame Flubber for weaseling a bit.
Yeah, are we gonna include the crew in there? Are we sure?
Also,
Do that?
The gaffer is so good.
Also, I disagree with that because I think the slapstick stuff is the stuff that works. I wanted it to go
Right.
more zany and slapstick.
Totally agree. And then I wanted to shout out Lee's comment as the movie went into its cut to credits. Quote, ska is a good way to end this. On close quote. So,
Is that like with like a derogatory or?
no, I
just
think
nor-
I
just
think it
normal?
fits the vibe. It fits the vibe
That's fair.
of the film. You know, it just, you can imagine going to the movies in the year of our Lord 1997 and just being like, you know what, it could have been better, but at least we got ska. So at the end of the day, why should I complain?
You do get
what
ska.
do I got to be disappointed
You
about?
get, so you
You
get
get what you
ska,
put into it.
You get the silliness. You know, the silliness is fine. You're right. Like the slapsticky, let's lean into it. The sound effects were funny in the movie. Like there was
Yeah, a lot of boing.
well, yeah, and it wasn't even just like and the balls like go thunk. It wasn't even just that though. There was one part where like a rag hits a guy in the face and it makes a fart sound.
Oh, because it was Flubber when it's the Flubber rag because he
Yeah.
was like wiping the guy's shoe or
Yeah, and it's
whatever.
like,
All the Flubber sound design I thought was really well
squeak,
done.
squeak, squeak, squeak.
Yeah.
Like it's,
There's like a boom, da boom, da boom, da
Yeah.
boom.
However, what we are dealing with, especially towards the end of the movie, is Weebo passes away. For some reason, we're not able to save her files. However, we are able to save the file of the child that she made for Robin Williams.
do we think
Because it's already on the
Do we
computer. She put it on the computer. She's doing her little sexy research on
her,
it.
Man, you
her
gotta
child?
back up your files?
Okay, so wait,
Stork. It's called
real
Stork.
real quick. So the whole scene where she creates a humanoid version of herself that's going to be
She
projected.
creates a hologram of herself that is
how
pretty banging.
She's actually really hot.
She's like, I'm going to try to create the hottest person to ever exist, or maybe it's because she knows Robin so well. To Robin, that's Robin's number
Well,
one.
that's actually-
A1 type.
My number 5 on my list of 5 hates. The weird hologram thing. So she can kiss him? It's weird as fuck.
Interesting. Well, it's literally Blade Runner 2049. We've lived this
the-
whole way without being able to consummate our relationship.
It's just the
and
whole
now
time.
we will take that step.
The whole time you're watching it, you're just like, why? Why?
Why
are we
does
here
this
right now?
exist? Yeah.
And then
It
she runs
feels
away. She's like, "Oh
icky.
no, this is so embarrassing!" And she
Yeah.
plugs herself in. And then she does like a yawn, like, "What? I'm a sleepy robot. Now I'm awake."
I
It's
think
very cringe.
I think it would make more sense if
So
you
weird.
leaned more into that and integrated Flubber into the relationship. Like for some reason, Flubber is also in the thruple or the quadruple.
Or like getting in the way of like
quadruple.
her showing his feeling, like maybe he's showing too much attention to Flubber, and that could have been like a storyline.
Yeah, and
or
then
a
she
conflict.
tries to like destroy Flubber because of
Yeah.
Well,
jealousy.
no,
and then-
because he does the Flubber Mambo, and she liked it.
Mhm.
So that
No, I'm
that's-
saying if
she
we're
liked it.
rewriting this movie,
But we
Well, we
wouldn't
need-
do that.
we completely take Sarah out of the picture.
No, you
Sarah
need-
can go, but like Flubber's just here to stay.
Flubber is eternal.
You need Sarah. You need Sarah. But what I'm seeing is that unfortunately you got to lose the Goons. Sorry, Goons.
What?
I know
They
we're.
went to Goon School.
What?
I know. I
What
know.
are they
We're,
gonna do
part
with
of
their
SAG.
degree?
I know Goons are strapped for roles in
Yeah.
an American
Ted
Don't
Levine
do
is
this.
strapped for gold.
Hollywood right
Ted
now.
Levine is still calling them up and is like, "Hey, Les, you want to get the band back together and do Flubber too?"
He just always has green Jello in his pocket. He's just like wiggling it around, waiting for his time to shine.
She wears the flubber on her skin.
No.
There's the Flubber on her skin.
Did the Flubbers ever stop screaming, Weebo?
Weebo again.
Actually, that's crazy because I wrote down the Flubber is basically Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs because it's not in as much of the movie as you remember,
Yeah,
but it's a star.
but like
honey.
it is, yeah. And this is the Flubber Mambo is him putting on the other person's face and going like,
Yeah, it's like the iconic,
it's that imagery.
iconic
I
Oscar
feel like
moment.
every time I talk to all three of you at once, Silence of the Lambs comes up, and I
Every
hate
time,
it.
and it's the best.
Every
It's
single
because
time.
it's the greatest film ever made.
The special effects of that flubber, I think, are pretty good.
yeah,
They don't look like ass for being almost 30 years old. They look solid.
yeah. Well, especially when Flubber isn't having to interact with anything else that's moving. When
Yeah.
Flubber is like the animated scene, when Flubber is on its own, just kind of dancing around, they can do a lot with that. It becomes more of an issue when you're asking a real person to act as if they're holding something, and they're sometimes it's a little awkward.
Another thing, I think it's probably is like legitimately the best bit of the entire movie, but it kind of has to do with the goons and with like the antics of the flying car and everything else we brought up earlier. But it's just everything with this kid being traumatized.
Yeah, that's
that
really
is-
That's
funny.
the best
That
plot.
is
of
really
the whole
hilarious.
thing.
It's just starts with like the daddy, there's a monster outside my window, and then like just being terrorized
Goons
for his entire life,
car.
ending with him being like, all right, kid, we're gonna get the fuck out of town. There's no monsters on the airplane.
We're
that
moving
we're
to
on."
another continent.
Just still just sees flying car just up there next to them.
And
He
Flubber
can't
literally like
escape.
sees him. It's on sight.
Yeah.
Slams against the window, trying to get to this child.
Well, it's kind of on that same vein of what I said earlier. It's like that I think you should leave sketch of the baby that grew up. Wait, no, it's the guy. It's the guy that had his flight ruined by the
Yeah,
baby.
and he's like
Yeah.
screaming like, "Wah!" The guy just puts on headphones and is like, "That's fine."
All right, let's get to the categories.
Wait, can I talk really quick about the original a little bit?
Yes, the absent-minded
Yes, please.
professor.
The original
1961.
movie is really good, and I think people should watch it. It's actually like you watch it and be like, you know what? Like, if I was in the '60s, this would probably be like the best movie ever. The director of it directed, like he was like a real director. He directed like Mary Poppins, Robert Stevenson. Yeah, so it's
Oh.
actually like, it looks good, especially for the time.
That kind of makes sense. Like when you look at Disney Plus, when you just like look at like kind of like the preview of it, you're like, yeah, like floating
It's
shit.
got that vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I think it is black and white, even though like it's 61 and that movies weren't necessarily black and white in 61. It still is. Fred McMurray is the star of it, who is like sort of like, I guess I would call him like a B-lister of like the 50s and 60s. He's fucking awesome. Like he's honestly way better suited for this role than Robin was. Robin goes way too weird, and I guess part of it's the script. But this guy is just so charismatic that you don't even care that he sucks. So he's good.
Oh, he's in The Apartment, which
Yes.
is a fucking
Yeah.
perfect movie.
The-
like an incredible movie.
The basketball scene looks better in the
Wow.
original.
What?
I don't.
They're jumping around like
So
crazy.
yeah, the way that they did it, I believe, is they put all the players on wires and jump them up and down and then sped up the tape. Because if you look at the background
nice.
actors,
Yeah.
it
That's
kind of
cool.
looks like they're acting slowly so it can be sped up.
Yeah.
And it looks like awesome. they spend like a ton of time just like showing you that because it looks so good and it's really funny. Also, that scene makes way more sense in general. Like that game like matters to people instead of just being like about Robin Williams. Like the crowd is like losing their fucking minds the whole time that scene happens. They're like,
they're
what?
seeing the greatest thing they've ever seen.
Yeah, they're like,
in their
what
lives.
the fuck is going on?
Also, The Absent-Minded Professor has an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's like
There you
it's a
go.
good
Versus,
movie.
like-
Did
and
you
it's about-
watch-
It's only 3 minutes more of a runtime than Flubber is.
Wow.
And it
Yeah.
there's zero Weebo.
Damn.
Fuck.
No
How
Weebo.
horny is it?
The
though?
villains are still very funny. You don't get like the goon duo kind of going off on their own and getting owned, but like the Will Wheaton character and his dad make more sense in the plot. Like, you know, like they have sort of a purpose. It's way more of like a rivalry movie between these two colleges, and it all makes sense.
That's fun though.
Do
Like
you know
I
about
would.
the Son
That
of
sounds
Flubber?
like a better movie. Yeah. Did you see it? There's a sequel
No.
to The
Oh.
Absent-Minded Professor called Son of Flubber. Which is really, it's like Son of Kong.
Wait, do they
and
show
it's-
Flubber and Absent-Minded Professor?
So yeah, it's, you know, it's definitely iffy when it's just like sort of like an amorphous thing bouncing around. Usually when he's holding it's just like a ball, like a rubber ball he's holding, which is like fine, honestly. They didn't have nothing. They didn't
But
got
like,
nothing
I
back
want to
there.
see Flubber's son.
There's also like, I don't know, just this character. His character is smarter in the movie. Like,
Well,
he's
that's what
fucking-
I was gonna ask, because like
He's not
for
so lost.
for the genius that Robin is, he's like the stupidest guy.
Exactly. No, in this movie, he has way more agency, and he is like, he's a dummy, but in like a normal way, where he's just like, you know, he has this flubber, and but like he's just so into like getting this girl back, but it's played for comedy instead of just being like, God, I hate this fucking guy. There's like for example, there's a great little sequence where like he's trying to figure out what to do with the flubber because he has the flubber. Robin Williams does not do that at all. He
Right.
exclusively uses flubber to like get his girl back. But like he's trying to like get in touch with the president, and it's really fun. Yeah, like he calls the government, and
Sir, we have Flubber.
it's a great little comedy sequence where like he gets the runaround where like, you know, like one department picks on their like defense, and he's like, yeah, I have this like rubber thing, it's like bouncing around, like, you know, I have a flying car. They're like, okay, automotive, cool, and they like transfer him to automotive. Like it's like good comedy. And then what results from that is the government, like I think the Defense Department or someone sends like an operative to come like spy on
God.
him and take the flubber, which that's better than most subplots I can
Then
think of.
It's
in
better
this
than
movie.
I'm going to take my flying car outside the CEO of Ford's window.
Hey,
Also-
that was funny.
also-
Come on.
Let's shop around a bit. Let's not put this in Ford's hands because, like,
Was it a Ford
do you
car?
want your
I
shit
just
to-
figured it
do
was
you
like,
want to-
hey, look what I did to your
it's
car.
a Thunderbird. Thunderbirds aren't.
Oh. Yeah, you get the big old Ford logo. I was like, what? It's got to be a Ford.
No, Thunderbirds are.
They could have just made up.
They are Fords. I'm sorry.
okay,
I'm not
yeah.
a car guy. I'm so sorry, audience. That I had to look up if
It's
Thunderbird
well,
was a Ford.
it's like a reference because in the original it's a Model T, which
Oh.
yeah, the first Ford.
Cool.
So yeah, they give him a
Beautiful.
T-Bird, and it's yeah, like he's smart. He's trying to actually do something with the flubber because again, that's another reason I like Christopher McDonald, the villain, more than I like Robin in this because like he's like we could do a lot with this fucking thing, man. We could probably power some impoverished countries. It seems like the energy is just kind of created from nothing here. So.
Yeah.
Well, I probably would have lost the bet on if the general consensus was that Flubber was worse than the movie it was based on before this podcast.
I mean, you know, they had good movies back then.
yeah. I mean, I just, Robin Williams,
Yeah.
little green guy.
Well,
you get swept up in it.
He's a
I
little
don't know.
fella, and I like him.
It's also they fucked up by calling it Flubber if they're not going to give it to us. It's just
the Absent-Minded
false
Professor makes more
advertising.
sense for this
Yeah.
movie.
exactly.
It should have just been called the
It
Absent-Minded.
should,
but
yeah, it
the
should be called like
Absent-Minded
the
Professor
dumb fuck.
doesn't.
Bow tie
Dumb
guy.
fucker rated G.
No wedding here. Coming to a theater near you. Or
Fourth
maybe
time's
not.
the charm.
What a fucking idiot. All right. Categories. First
Okay.
category is what's the best Robinism?
So I actually have one written down for this.
It's pretty
Um,
easy.
Well, no, I think that it is. I think that it is easy to like kind of give it to an obvious one, but I just want to give this a shout out. So whenever he's doing experiments with Flubber, after the birth of Flubber, and he has like this crystallized version of Flubber that he's moving around, he is wearing a radiation suit that is then revealed whenever a timer goes off at 6:30 in the morning. It is a tearaway radiation suit. Which just fucking rocks, man. I want
cool.
a tearaway radiation suit.
Yeah, that's a good moment. I think the birth has to be it, though. The birth
of Flubber, yeah.
The birth is, he just goes off, dude.
That whole sequence into him actually, the Flubber escaping.
Yeah, and then Flubber causes like thousands of dollars worth of property damage, which that never comes back. Like Flubber tries to murder a man.
Flubber ogles
Through
a
his
woman's
body.
ass. Flubber just goes like "awooga" to the camera whenever he sees like a fat woman's ass. I have the quote written down here of whenever he's trying to describe Flubber.
No.
All right, let's try to describe you. You're an elastomer. Yes. You're highly viscous. But yet you can phase shift.
Yeah, turn Hunter up.
Let's see. You're moldable. It's a little ticklish. You're foldable. You're gullible. Oh, all right. Let's see. Oh,
Gullible.
wait a minute. You're ductile.
God.
You're elastic. Oh, let's see how elastic you are. Oh, look, I'm the hacky sack king.
If this doesn't convince people to get on the YouTube and like watch,
I think it's gonna convince them to go touch grass.
I should have.
No, we're touching Flubber, baby.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
as
what's green?
Just as mean.
Man, if only if I
Amazing.
could stand up, I would really act out the full thing.
Yeah, the hacky
Can you
sack.
digitally animate me doing
That-
all
see,
of the Flubber?
that was the first
animations?
moment where I was like, so the Flubber like helps him because otherwise he was just already really good at hacky sack, and then like the Flubber made him a little better,
yeah, that,
I
like,
guess.
well, because it's like he had to be hitting that the most perfect angles in the
Yeah.
world for it to just actually be doing a perfect arc. But also the physics of Flubber, I think in theory this sounds great, this whole idea of Flubber, but it's chaos what he's doing here. Because Flubber, sometimes it just goes into a straight line and just doesn't stop. Other times it's just like, we'll only bounce like 4 feet in the air.
That's what I'm saying. The basketball player, like
We'll go
what
with
it
the
does
curvature
with
here
what
now.
it does attached to a bowling ball, like is like going to the stratosphere, but then attached to a person, which is not like that much heavier. It just goes like doing, doing.
Well,
The Flubber is helping. The
A
Flubber,
human is heavier than a 15-pound bowling
yeah, but
ball.
like
Most
the
humans
Flubber
are.
like wants to do what you want it to do.
I like the idea that like there's an alternate timeline where Robin Williams keeps missing his weddings because he was hacky sacking too hard. And he was just like, God, how can I hacky sack even more?
That's
So
what
he
he-
missed
that's
another
what he
wedding
was
to do with
trying to
Flubber.
make.
That's
This
why
whole
Sarah's
time.
done with this shit, because he's just like, I came up with the best invention. It's you put these little beads inside this netted
It's
ball.
Flubber.
of
Oh my God,
sorts.
the hacky sack is tiny little Flubber beads, and they're all doing the Flubber Mambo and just bouncing on Robin Williams' ankle.
We should have gotten some quick flashbacks of what the other wedding misses were explained by. Like, what were the inventions?
Like a montage would have been nice.
Yeah, like what did he invent those other 2 times? That would have been nice. All right, any other Robinisms to shout out other than the birth of Flubber?
I would say the way that he really genuinely cares when Weebo dies is like nice.
Yeah.
That was
It's
painful.
a nice scene.
Not line, I guess Robin moment you would call it, but like that. Yeah, I was like, okay, so he's like trying to act here, like when they give him space because
Yeah,
they
he's
really
good.
John Hughes was really like no, like 10 minutes, like the audience is gonna be fucked up over this.
Or when he's confessing his love for Sarah and just being like I'm not like stupid or like
Oh.
absent-minded. I just am in love, and I'm like, that's sweet. Just go to your wedding though.
I do have to kind of disagree on that quote specifically, just because the quote's really bad. Here's the quote is, I know I love her, Weebo. Every neuron in my limbic system is saturated with phenylalanine that triggers euphoria, elation, exhilaration. Truth is, Weebo, I'm not absent-minded because I'm selfish, crazy, or inconsiderate. I'm absent-minded because I'm in love with Sarah.
Aw.
That also makes no sense.
Love
Right.
makes you dumb.
No, but like it doesn't make you so dumb that you forget about her.
Love
He
for
used to never
extended
text me back when
periods
we
of
first started
times.
dating.
That's so true.
So I don't know.
I'm a little bit of an absent-minded professor myself.
I
All
felt
the-
like a little bit of a flubber myself.
I often
Yeah.
do say that every neuron in my limbic system is saturated with
he
phenylethylamine.
said that to me once, and I got it on film just in case you guys were
Is
ever
that
on
why
the
you're
rocks.
always up my window at night trying to get in through my screen? And I have to throw rocks
I'm
to
just
get
like,
you
Drew,
to
she
leave.
just triggers
I'm like-
elation exhilaration
Yeah,
before
I'm stuck in between because I do want to marry Hunter.
You put tinfoil and like over your head and you keep slamming into my window like a woodpecker.
Drew, you do try and like just float in through our window every now and then, but
Yeah.
except you can't float, so it's more of just like a diving head first
It's
into
me,
our
yeah.
windows.
And I haven't decided yet when I show up at night if I'm going to like kill Gaia or
Drew keeps printing out memes off the internet and taping them on his face when he just doesn't want to speak and respond to me, which
You're
is
like
really
sometimes I pop in there and I'm like, no, Gaia, look, he loves you, and you're like, yeah, I know.
weird.
Like he's
Everything's
asleep
He's
okay.
right
holding his
next
phone in
to
his
me.
forehead and it's just that video of Hunter falling through a table at her wedding.
And you're like, we're okay right now, actually.
We're like, Drew, you have to go home and I'm not giving you a ride this time. You have to call Rin to pick you up.
Sure.
Your head also does open up to reveal a little tiny screen that shows
It's
a
playing Flubber.
cartoon.
The problem is that it only ever is playing on this screen that projects outside of your head, Mank at 1.25 speed.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Okay, next category is what's the best moment in the whole movie?
Flubber Mambo. That's not
Flubber
a
Mambo.
question.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a winner, but just going back a step, one more Robin moment is basketball practice scene.
Oh, when he's solo.
Yeah,
when
he's
going,
solo. He's
yeah.
trying to figure out the right amount of flubberization to put on himself.
That is a great yes.
That's a fun
Great
little
pick.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flubber Mambo kind of rocks, and I love how that scene was definitely not in the original script at all.
I have a question.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Is there a category for something we hate?
You can
make
do
it right now.
your least favorite moment right now.
At the very end of the movie, when the little fucking shriek we bet, she calls Flubber a quote quasi-plasmoid. What the fuck is that? It made me so mad. I just like
Ew,
I just
he's
got-
a quasi-plasmoid.
I don't know why that made me so angry, and I was like, Hunter, like, because I had watched it, and then he came home and we watched it again,
Well,
and so I had to see it twice, and I don't know why, but it gave me like a visceral reaction. Like I just got angry.
so there's that.
What does that mean?
There's not just that she calls Flubber.
She calls him brother.
She also calls him brother, and she says, "Mom, Dad," talking to Robin Williams and Sarah. And keep in mind, her mom robot was trying to fuck Robin Williams.
So that's still her
I don't
dad,
know if
though.
that's.
Yeah, but she
But
doesn't.
is Sarah her mom now?
Well,
Yeah,
do
it's
you
like-
think they even told her about Weebo? Like, she was.
She
It's like when you wait to tell your kids adopted till they're like 17.
Yeah, exactly.
But she is.
She's
Weebo.
gonna get like really
She's
cold
Weebette.
and distant,
Yeah, but,
and
you know, just the
try
same
and-
way that you are your parents. But if you didn't know who your parents
Oh,
were,
gotcha.
Yeah.
But like if you said quasi-plasmoid, I would tell you like you're adopted. Like I'd be like, yeah, you know what, you are adopted. Like I'm gonna really
Absolutely,
like, yeah.
Flubber has
I'm gonna-
unlimited
Here's
ammo
the
on
thing:
this fucking
I would
bitch.
lie to my kid and I'd tell that fucker he was adopted, even if he wasn't.
I'm gonna search quasi-plasmoid and like I don't know why that makes me mad.
I do want to ask you guys because I made up a category here, and it's called
Okay.
the best flubberism.
All right, go
So we've
for it.
talked through a few of them.
Mhm.
There is, of course, the invention of Flubber, where we have from Flubber being born, him being described by Robin Williams, flash photography happens, and he scatters everywhere across the neighborhood. So that's nominee number one. Nominee number two is the basketball scene, mostly for like, what would this mean for sports in general? Robin Williams says it almost like a throwaway line, like, "Oh, this definitely a sports application. This is changing the way that, like, imagine if it's just a thing where it's like instead of doing the PED scandal of the '90s and early 2000s, it's just like people are like, I did flubberize my bat.
Yeah.
I put a little
Patrick
bit of
Mahomes has been flubbering his gloves.
Sammy Sosa was just flubberizing his bat. And that's why he's getting so many home
Oh
runs.
my god, that's a whole like Disney Plus spin-off.
That's a whole series of the like.
Oh my
It's that
god.
bowling movie Alley Cats with Flubber. So the bowling balls are just slamming through the roof and into people.
Blasting.
It's like Barry Bonds injecting Flubber into his veins.
You could
He just
do,
can't stop mamboing out there on the pitch.
You could do a whole like essentially like Space Jam movies, but with Flubber.
What if
Everyone has to
what
touch
if
Flubber
Space
to get
Jam
special
2
powers.
Space Jam 2 is actually a crossover where they're like, sorry guys, we couldn't get your talents back from the Toon Squad, but we did inject you. We did get some Flubber here that you can just shoot.
It's literally,
up.
it's just like Compound V from
Yeah.
The Boys.
Basically it's just You don't know how it's going to affect you until you actually take it. Like,
Yeah,
it might give you super strength. It might make you like talk to fish.
A baseball player, they have to inject it, and then they have to make their walk-up song the Mambo, so the flubber will get fucking amped.
So that's nominee number 3 is the Flubber Mambo as just the best flubberism.
Sure.
Do you guys have any nominees?
I mean,
Or do you have
those-
a winner out of those.
Those are kind of it. I think that the only other one to kind of highlight is what I mentioned earlier, what we brought up about Flubber, like right after the birth of Flubber causing all that damage to the neighborhood.
Yeah, no, that's like the first. I think that is actually my favorite Flubber moment because it
Yeah.
actually has some kind of implication
'Cause you
to
can-
the movie. If I'm
you-
going to say Flubberism,
Yeah, you can break up that scene into like everything that happens in the lab, and then boom, she takes the picture of them, and then Flubber goes off and just like tries to murder people.
what about outside of Flubber's true form? Your favorite form of Flubber, outside of his like little gelatinous body that really does something to me, guys. Let me tell you. Like, do you prefer the hand cream? Do you prefer
Flubber
water
cube.
bottle?
Flubber cube.
Flubber cube.
Flubber cube.
That's a great one.
Do you like spray bottle Flubber?
That
like,
scene
what if
is
you?
so funny,
what if
though,
you
honestly.
accidentally? You're trying to Windex your house. You're like doing some cleaning. And instead of grabbing Windex, you accidentally
No,
spray
but
some
what he keeps
Flubber on
doing
here.
is like, just like keeps spraying him in the face. Is like, no, like the squirt gun. He just like keeps doing. He's like, no, but like that's the
Oh,
squirt gun. He just, like, keeps
that's
doing- that
fucking
is genuinely like so funny. It goes on for so
That's
long.
great.
I was laughing really hard.
Just like, no, give it to him.
And
You're
Robin
just like,
Williams looks like he's trying not to laugh the whole time it's
Yeah,
happening. It's
that's
just
a
so
great-
funny. Like
honestly,
I think
that's a
it's my
great
That might be
call-out.
one of my favorite moments, like other than
Yeah.
Flubber Mambo. Obviously, I think that's genuinely like the funniest moment because it looks very like they improv'd it, but then just like kept going, and then they
He's just like,
corrected it.
no, in the hand. And he's like, okay, and just starts squirting his hand.
Yes, Robin was trying so hard to keep it together.
so
I
good.
totally clocked
It made me,
that.
gosh,
That was
I just
Uh,
want to watch that like after this. Honestly,
just make that the movie, man. Like you just make
If
the
they were
movie
more
a series.
self-aware, that
Let's just
would've,
go
you
like
know.
full Three Stooges with it. Let's just go full slapstick, zany.
Just
we
like
don't.
make it, make it like
I don't-
a
Or
SpongeBob
Ford
episode.
Booth.
I don't need to know about this
Some
billionaire's
Stooges.
fucking son. I don't give a shit about
that was like
any
a weird
of that.
plot line. It's like I guess because of failing him, like I can see the motives, but they just had too much.
Well, no,
tuna.
it's
There's too
What's
much
going on?
tuna.
The thing is, John Hughes really needs to have
bully.
two dumb goons.
Yeah.
And so he added them to a script that had this evil kid and his dad as the villains. And it's like you already have Christopher McDonald also being a villain. Like
And Weebo.
and then
Weebo's the fucking huge villain of the fucking movie.
so it's too many because in the original I remember being like, oh yeah, it makes sense that this kid's like he matters. It's not just like, oh whoa,
yeah.
I do think it's
Okay.
funny, when they leave the basketball game and it's like the two goons, the dad and like the son in the car. I don't know why, just seeing all of them in the car, I'm just like, there's too much happening, and that made me laugh too.
Yes.
Are you all here? Why are you all friends? Why are you guys all
Why-
doing mischief together?
No,
Just
it's
stop.
funny. It's funny that his son is there because, like, I forgot. Like, oh yeah, that's why this character is
The
involved.
son doesn't
Right.
know what's
like,
going on at all, ever, and at any
he
moment.
doesn't have that many lines. Like, he has a big thing in the beginning of the movie, and then he's just like standing in rooms.
He looks
and
scared
scenes.
a lot.
no, exactly.
I wonder if that guy was just like if he had more scenes and he's just like not a good actor. So
I
someone
mean
got cut.
it's Will Wheaton. He's not a good actor.
Yeah,
It's just like he mattered back then. He was coming off of Star Trek, like being like a guy.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that he was Star
There-
Trek guy.
There was a point in the movie around that where I was just like, man, this thing is just really running out of steam.
Yeah,
Like it's just like any momentum that we had is just all
I
gone.
think by the time the basketball scene ends, I was
Yeah.
checking the time to be like, what else is going to
You're,
happen?
like, trying to
and then
clock,
so
like-
much more happened, and none of it mattered.
Okay, here's a great category. What would you do, fellas?
What you doing?
Who am
WYD.
I'm Flubber. What
No,
All right, no,
Flubber.
You,
You-
bounce to another
you
movie.
are
I
serious.
want to traumatize
We-
the child
we
where I'm
should
going to
actually
get into
do
his
it.
house.
We should do WID where we each are in the same scenario, being a different.
All right, I'm Sarah's bridesmaid. I'm Sarah's maid of honor. And I'm
Okay.
like, honey, it's not going to happen. You got to get out of here. And she's
What
like,
do
no,
you
don't
say?
worry.
I love him.
It's 4 times the charm. His robot's here. And so
He's gonna be a
that's enough.
millionaire with his next invention.
I want to be the car. I want to be the car with flubber tires.
Okay, so what would you do?
crash myself into a cliff and take myself out of my misery.
You just want to
every character that
I
what
was
you
a
doing
plumber, I
ends
think
with
I
you
would kill
killing
myself.
yourself.
If I was Sarah, I'd put on my wedding dress in my office and then jump out the window
All right, so
head first.
you're a goon and you learn that you can survive a bowling ball falling at terminal speed. What you doing?
Join a rec bowling ball league with some really bad people so that I don't get hurt this time.
I would like join the NFL.
I would.
Do you think they'd let you? They'd be like, this goon wants to
be like-
join the Oakland Raiders.
I would just start. I'd be like, if
Yeah,
I can
just-
survive
Vegas,
that,
my
I can
God.
definitely like survive a bullet. I'm a superhero
If you're holding the
now.
bowling ball,
Yeah,
would you be the bowling ball? Like, what if? Okay, I want you guys all, everyone, to close your eyes. I want you all to imagine you're the Flubber bowling ball. You are in the air. You're 1,000 feet in the air. You're coming down. First thoughts, go.
God, I hope there's a goon underneath me.
I'm gonna bounce to another goon. I'm gonna go goon to goon.
Boing a boing a boing a boing.
The thing is, I'm thinking like, yeah, you're that Flubber. Like you knew, like you know who you're gonna hit when you land. You're
Yeah,
aiming.
you're
for them.
Flubber. You're Flubber ball.
I also here's the thing. In my mind, like when I'm imagining the Flubber like talking, it sounds like minions.
Yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
like beedo
Beat up a bat.
banana.
They're just
Why
going,
do you think there was a
grew.
Flubber IHOP menu whenever this movie came out?
What if, dude? I swear, 'cause I'm
Some
such a I
green
fall for those little
pancakes.
gimmicks.
I think I might
do
know
anything.
something that would have been on that menu, right, Ernest?
Are you cueing me to go grab it right now?
Yeah, I'm hungry.
I don't think it's gonna fill you up, friend.
I was gonna save that for the very end.
For the very end. We'll
What
save
possibly
it.
could we even do
I-
that's left?
Good Robin or bad Robin?
Good
That's
Robin.
bad Robin.
I think this is
Guys,
good Robin.
I like Robin in this movie.
I have bad news for you. This is bad Robin.
No,
this
it's
is
not.
we're gonna get to the Robinisms, and this is the
thing is-
high Robin usage and low Robin efficiency. This is
He
the
did
Russell.
the best for what he was
this
given.
is this is 2021
Watch-
Russell Westbrook.
You
Robin
think
Williams.
that if you watch Fred McMurray in the original, you'd be like, oh yeah, they should have just cast someone who like is like a movie star now.
But the writing would have been the same regardless. So I don't know if it would have.
I know, but well, even then, like he's really annoying. The writing is annoying in the original, but you're still just like, man, this guy is hot, and I like.
He's
him.
Well,
fun
Robin is
and
Robin.
funky
I feel
and
like they
it's-
have that. You got that nostalgia factor going. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
it's hard. I
trying to
can't
separate.
hate the movie. Even
I'm
I know it's
separating
bad,
the
but
nostalgia
it's, like,
from it.
good.
And
I was actually I was just trying to think of this regarding like what Robin was to like our generation. Kids today don't really like have
Flubber.
a middle-aged to older man who headlines kids movies.
Oh, not at all.
That's
No.
yeah.
Unless
that's like
you count Dwayne Johnson, but he's
sucks.
like, yeah.
it's just
Well,
that's
it's
like
different,
a weird.
yeah.
It's a weird thing that he like did.
I mean,
for us.
well, that's-
he was sort of like the
such a
last.
father figure. He was so like homey and
Yeah.
comfortable.
Well, there was a lot of them for like our generation and older.
Well,
Now
no,
we're
that's-
like getting into like an existential thing about the death of movie stars, but that is like kind of what this is.
It's
leading
just
to
like
is-
there's not like a grown ass man with like hairy arms that
Mark
like kids are like,
Ruffalo.
"Yeah."
Mark Ruffalo.
no, but the thing is,
okay,
all of those.
Ernest, one
all of
older
those-
man.
Yeah, is Spotlight your favorite family film of the last 10 years?
Yes.
Or no, I mean the thing is that you're talking about like kind of the death of like the family movie. There's kids movies and then there's adults movies, and there aren't Home Alones anymore. There aren't movies that are just like a fun time for the whole family. If they are, they're animated. And
Yeah,
then
'cause
it's
every
just
movie
like,
now is
oh,
a
that was
Marvel
enjoyable.
movie.
Yeah,
You have to have the big
exactly.
summer epic. It has to be
They're making
explosions.
this
It has
movie's
to be
$80
$500
million budget. $80 million.
This movie made me-
like it's
The best thing I can say about it in terms of not making Gaia mad at me is I think it made me appreciate G-Force more because like G-Force like gives you what it says it's
It's more
gonna.
consistent with the storyline. There's
G-Force
a lot
is
of Black
get-
Eyed Peas though, which
Yeah,
is like good.
but
it's
it's just,
great,
like,
but
It like the commercial sells you guinea pig secret agent. That's
You
the
get
only
it.
thing it's about.
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
not gonna make me mad at
True.
you. No, that's like a very valid
No, that's-
thing. Like,
yeah,
that
that's what I'm
makes sense.
saying, like-
Yeah.
The Flubber is just like it's not Flubber.
guys.
No, yeah. I realized that as I'm rewatching. I was like, there's so much less Flubber than I thought, but it's probably because I used to just sit at my VCR and fast forward and rewind to the Flubber parts, and then
Right.
I'd start
And
it
that's
over.
All right,
it.
guys, we're gonna have a new category, new impromptu category is what improves each movie better. So, what improves each movie better? If you take the Black Eyed Peas, I've Got a Feeling, and you put that instead of the Flubber Mambo,
I've got a flubbing.
or every time that there is a montage sequence in G-Force, you put the Flubber Mambo on it.
Flubber Mambo would definitely make Black Eyed Peas worse because I feel like the Black Eyed Peas were so big. That was part of the appeal, and it was in the previews. So I feel like those helped each other. But after, there's so much black-eyed peas and jeepers. If
So
you put
much.
the Flubber Mambo and you get mad and you would leave. the
No,
theater.
that's right. Yeah, no, because you have to keep in mind you're listening to the Flubber Mambo 5 times.
Yeah,
More
and
than
it's
that,
it's
probably.
over a scene because that's like just like during scenes happening, they're putting on I Got a
And
Feeling
you
in
just
the
hear dun
background.
dun dun
They're just
dun dun
walking,
dun dun
yeah.
dun.
Or like boom, boom, boom. It's like we got to figure out how to penetrate that building.
I mean, this
Gotta get that.
I used to cry, I still do, over the fucking Nicolas Cage mom. He's like, no, let us.
Son, if you ever
get a chance to destroy all of mankind.
So that's a great.
It makes me cry. I
great
understand where he's
transition.
coming from. Capitalism's ruining us all.
oh cage recaging couch.
Recaging caps. You had to put Nicolas Cage in this movie.
Flubber. He's Flubber.
No, he's the fucking
Is he
the
a
guy
goon?
who wants to fuck Sarah.
Oh, McDonald.
90s Cage is definitely
97
fucking
could do it. Yeah, you could have
2000s
some-
Cage is a goon.
He's goon.
You know what we should
Could-
have called our worst category? Biggest flub.
Oh,
You can
Flubbers and
just-
snubbers.
Yeah, just go ahead and
Yeah, let's put that in.
Tires and Murmurs is Flubbers and Stubbers.
I'd
Could-
love to see Cage as the professor.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I feel like Cage, if you aren't rewriting this story at all and you're having him be zany antic, I almost wonder if Cage is better suited for that than Robin Williams.
What if he was Sarah?
Oh, now we're talking.
He's
baby.
Weebo.
You'd have to recast Robin though, because I don't know if they have the best chemistry.
Professor.
I don't think they do.
Oh, Professor, I want to project my body onto you.
Maybe they should do that.
She's like
That was like a mix of Nicolas Cage and Buffalo Bill.
No,
I don't
she's-
know what that was.
she's like, Professor,
know what
I've
came
I've analyzed everything about your psyche to create the sexiest person you could possibly.
And that's who they're.
It's
I can
him and
imagine that's
it's him
really
and
good.
Vampire's Kiss, just like I'm a vampire.
Incredible. In terms of who else you could put in here, I mean, I feel like, I think this is good Robin, and I feel like this is not really going to improve that much if you trade him out with anyone else.
I mean,
the movie
again,
has
if I'm-
bigger problems.
I'm telling you
than the
though,
casting.
like watching Fred McMurray deliver very similar lines, you're like, he's just not fit for it
I
because
just-
Robin is capable of removing all charisma from his being if he needs to for a character, and that can't be the case when the character sucks also,
right.
because then you're just left with a guy who sucks.
I think that Robin is one reason why I think this is bad, Robin. I've been thinking about this all day. Is like I feel like we should have gone one way or the other. We should have done the absent-minded professor thing, like you're saying, Drew, of just like a hot guy, but he is like fun and charismatic.
The himbo professor.
Or the himbo professor. That's the sequel. Or you go full slapstick zany, and let's get like Jim Carrey the Mask in here. Like let's
Yeah.
just go like all the way over the top. Talk about a horny quote unquote kids movie, The Mask. Like that's what I want to do. That's why Nicolas Cage in there actually makes sense to me, because he's like Nicolas Cage can go fully unhinged off the rails, and if anything, I want to go fully the other
Yeah.
way. I don't want the sad emotional Weebo scene, like of Weebo death scene in the middle of this
It was
movie.
so sad.
Yeah, I don't want that in this movie. I want it to just keep going full
It's-
Three Stooges.
So if you're looking at people who are good at being cartoon characters, it's like you could get like Bill Hader in there.
Yeah, he'd be great.
He would slap.
if we're taking modern people,
Yeah. Because cartoon characters, but Bill Hader literally. Oh, I just realized why I thought that, because he voices the fucking Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs guy, who literally delivers those exact same lines and is really funny. That movie's great, by the way.
Someone who like
Yeah.
this is not for Robin Williams, but for Chris McDonald's character, and I'm gonna sound biased because he's my favorite actor of all time, but I think Tim Curry would like do that
Oh,
very well, like
Tim Curry would
perfectly.
Yes.
own that.
I think he would
role.
be like-
yes.
A+ in that movie.
Oh
Obsessed.
my God. Now I
Tim,
want
if
to
you're
see
watching
that.
This, I love you.
Oh my God.
I-
That would rule.
I actually have another thought about Christopher McDonald. Do we think did he get market corrected by Brendan Fraser?
Interesting.
They look pretty similar, but Brendan Fraser has he has a charisma to him that Christopher McDonald more has like that
Yeah.
kid's villain.
Yeah,
energy.
well, that's
so he was more
sinister.
Well, that's the
typecast.
thing is Christopher McDonald actually never played a hero in his damn life.
Yeah.
So he wasn't really
Because of his
corrected.
eyebrows.
Like he just like couldn't ever do that.
But I just think, like, what if they were just like, oh, Christopher McDonald is like trying to make a turn. He's trying to have
if he
these
was
type
trying
of
to,
roles, and then Brendan
they'd be
Fraser
like-
shows up in the late '90s, right around this time.
yeah,
and
they'd
it's
be like, we already have a
Clear
hot
out,
guy
clear
with like bulgy eyes.
bulgy eyes and really strong bone structure.
We already have that guy.
We forgot to do Robin meter.
What's that?
How many Robins out of 10?
This isn't by whether it's like quality. This is just how over the top
sicko.
Robin sicko
he
mode
goes
does
he
go.
goes pretty in.
I'm gonna say like an 8.
Yeah.
I'd say
He
8.5.
gets nutso.
I'm up there with like 8.5. Yeah. That birth of Flubber scene
That's,
puts him
like,
up there
Makes
immediately.
me cringe.
This might even be like a 9 because there's just like he never stops in this
Right.
movie. Like there's kind of too much
He
of him.
doesn't go to his own wedding.
And
He
any
doesn't
point,
go.
also,
He
he's
jumps
dressed up.
out
He
of-
has a top hat. That top hat pissed me off too because I was like, not only are you disrespecting Sarah by not going to the wedding, but you're disrespecting
What
her
if
again by wearing
so?
that hat.
So it's our wedding day.
Okay.
You turn the corner at our outdoor wedding, and you
There's a
see me there,
Weebo.
and I have a large top hat. I am sobbing.
Oh,
and
I was
go,
about to say, are you sobbing just
I
as
go,
hard as you were that day?
"Milady," and I like tip my giant top hat.
Okay,
cap
I have
to
a
you.
question. Are you then, as you're sobbing, handing me a martini glass with a Dorito garnish filled with Mountain Dew?
Yes,
Incredible.
absolutely.
Then,
Incredible.
yeah, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna
Okay.
do it.
I figured you were going to ask if like you were trying to do an invention on the
It's
side.
the martini glass filled
while-
with Mountain Dew. That's
it's
the
like, oh,
invention.
I wish I could be there,
Wait a
honey,
second,
but
just
I have to
fucking wait.
record a podcast.
He's standing behind
Yeah, no, it's
Drew,
actually just
like,
me.
near a fountain.
It's
at
me
the wedding.
recording a solo podcast about like the virtues of Mank, about like 2,000 times that Mank.
He's wearing a
changed my
GoPro
life.
around his neck and it's pointed at his face and
Yeah.
he's just sobbing.
At like the
Like
worst
that
angle,
train
like
kid.
it's just like right.
He looks so crazy.
Um,
An inventor who realizes he only has good ideas when he's missing his own wedding.
Flubber. Flubheads unite. Okay, I'm going to grab the special treat because this is our 5th anniversary of WBAM.
Today
Ooh.
marks 5 years of wabamming.
Could you believe it?
God,
I remember the first pod I was on when Drew admitted he doesn't like Star Wars and you guys were just screaming.
Just yelling at me.
It was
Man,
amazing.
good
I think about
take.
that often.
good job by you. You were
Oh my
ahead of the market on that.
God.
You were.
Look at this.
Look at. We're drinking Flubber.
You guys
Is
have to
this
swallow it whole
ethical?
at once.
It's gonna shoot out our fucking buttholes.
I hope so.
This is what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to grab a bit of whipped cream
What?
and put it in there, and it's going to be delicious. If you want. If not, then that's fine.
I've
I'll
never
have-
had Jello and whipped cream.
This was
I was
Lee's
hoping you'd say I've
suggestion.
never had Jello before. Which would have
No.
been way better. Like you're like my mom wouldn't let me have it.
I'm like, what the hell? They made Flubber into a food?
Look at Ernie out here with the non-dairy.
Lee's suggestion was
Non-dairy
to make
whipped
it a
cream.
little bit more festive with the Ready Whip.
I'll do it. I'll take Lee's suggestion.
We shall see. Can you hand me that
Do
spoon,
you want to
please?
go through?
Thank you.
Let's do our top 500 We Bought a Mic moments.
500.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1, Mank.
Let's describe you.
Oh, no. Drew took it out. No.
Problem.
What
It
are you
looks like
doing?
Flubber's
Stretch
cute
that.
Jello.
Freaking plasmoid,
Quasi
avuncular.
plasmoid.
Drew, can you stretch
this is
that over your face real
quasi-plasmoid.
quick?
This is
Slurp
harassment.
It. Ew, that was so much worse. I hated that.
So,
Slurp it really close to the mic, like ASMR style, please.
I put way too much. I put like an
Let me
equal
see
amount
that
whipped
go.
cream to the
if
Jello. That's okay.
if you're
Ooh,
not
coconut
watching
milk.
on the YouTube, what we have in front of us is
Can
4
we pass this over?
individual servings of green lime Jello
Yum,
to
yum.
celebrate Flubber and to celebrate 5 years.
We're doing essentially a Flubber mukbang.
Yeah, now let's go full ASMR with it and just
Drew is not savoring the Flubber at all. Drew is wolfing it down with his bare hands.
Ew, Drew!
I can't even watch. It's disgusting.
Ernie, Horny, I'm gonna need you to really get some good zoom on this video.
I want to
It's
make it as a
really
GIF,
close.
and I just want to send it to all my group chats.
I didn't know that this is gonna become like.
And then I do.
I hate that you're still holding it. Can you eat it and put it away, please?
So this is when we make the exciting news that starting this year, We Bought a Mic is becoming a fetish podcast.
Next,
So I
Ernest
did
is
a
gonna use
thing.
his toes
Give
to
us
step
your
on the
recommendations
Jell-O.
on what you want us to eat next
We're now
week
on
live on
OnlyFans
mic.
as well as YouTube.
Like, subscribe, follow Drew's OnlyFans, where he just eats Jell-O from his bare hands and his toes.
Interesting. The pairing of Jell-O with whipped cream.
Is it
Yes.
good? I was sus because lime and whipped cream doesn't. Well, I guess key lime pie is good, but
It's not bad.
Yeah. I cannot tell you the last time that I actually ate Jell-O.
When Sweet Tomatoes was
Same.
open and we were slurping it off the plate.
That is true. We did
I
do
also
that.
I forgot to mention I did make the Jell-O with hard seltzer. So we are about to basically split 3 seltzers between 4 people right now.
Wow.
So
did you actually?
yeah. So solid little buzz there. I wanted to do
I said, like, I roofied one of the Jellos, I shuffled them, and
It's
I
a
will not know
mystery.
until it happens.
yeah, wouldn't that be great?
If only, right?
Yeah.
One of you like actually did eat Flubber though.
All
Why
right.
would you say that?
Ew. Well, thanks a lot,
Drew
boys.
disgusts me.
Thanks a lot for 5 years. And thank
5
you,
years.
Gaia, for joining
Thanks,
us for
Gaia.
Flubber.
Thanks
You were
having
at
me.
the recording of our very first podcast.
I like the first 10,
yeah.
and then I stopped going.
And then you're like, man, so he really just repeats the same things here that he says to me like
well,
all
I realized
day
because
long.
I would hang out with all of
doesn't
you guys, and then you guys would tell me everything you would say on the podcast, and I'd be like, "Hey, wait a minute, are you
I
guys just like using me as an idea
Well, here's the
bouncing
thing
board
is
to
that
see if
I
this
like
is good
to-
sounding out loud?"
I call conversations like podcast practice.
No, you don't call it that. That's what I would say to you, and I'd be like, "Are you doing podcast practice, or are we having a conversation?" And often we weren't having a convo.
Gotta save it for the pod.
I love
Yeah.
talking at people.
Honestly, sometimes better to get you gotta do it live so you don't like rehearse it too much. It has to feel natural.
Well, I mean, if there's one thing that Nathan Fielder taught us, it's that you can never rehearse too much.
Again. I do think that, sorry, little side note. I feel like the rehearsal blossomed because of the Nathan For You episode when he keeps making her
love
say I
you.
love you and he keeps saying
Again.
again.
Yes,
I
Smokers
feel like
Allowed.
I
that,
love you
that
again.
must have I feel like that definitely fueled. I feel like it was a gateway drug for the rehearsal. Was that specific episode?
Well, the best thing about the rehearsal is that it's like HBO was like, here, do whatever you want, explore whatever insane thing you want.
When he
to
every time he's
explore.
like that, I gotta build this bar, and move it across the country with HBO's money. Like he
Incredible.
just keeps saying with HBO's money.
it's truly one of the most incredible. Nathan is just inventing new
He's
art.
the perfect creature, the perfect specimen.
Yeah,
Would-
so
would you
coming soon
say-
to a podcast near you is
would you
going to
say
be a
he's
rehearsal episode.
Your pretend daddy.
Daddy.
He's your pretend.
No, I like to imagine I'm that giant 18-year-old he's carrying around and spinning, and he has him come to him like, I love you, Dad. That
And
was,
he rips the vape.
oh my God. Yeah, he's outside. He's just like, I just keep realizing I'm like living with an 18-year-old man.
Thank you so much for tuning in, for watching, for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe, like, and comment, and let us know what you thought of Flubber, parentheses 1997. And yeah, recommend the show. Visit our website, weboughtamic.net. Sign up for all episodes delivered to your inbox, as well as becoming a donor. Thank you, beautiful donors, for donating. Next week, I believe we are hitting the big one.
What's the big one?
Goodwill Hunting. It's
The
time.
namesake of this podcast series.
Yes. The Oscar moment for Mr. Robin
And I just want
Williams.
to tell Flubber that it's not your fault.
All right. Well, we got to go. We got a lot more Flubber to flub.
I gotta eat this Flubber.
So thank you, Gaia, for bringing us this incredible film.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Thank you
we'll
all
see
for
you.
watching.
Oh, you should say hotly contested pod, but you got there first.
Who else
Yeah.
wanted to do it?
Everybody else wanted to get on this Flubber pod.
This
so
one
you
was
got there first.
yeah, this one was one of the more sought after
I would
ones
have
for
sent
sure.
hate emails if you guys would have put anyone else on.
Oh.
I would have boycotted
No,
the pod.
no one
so.
no one you
Thank
got
you.
an in. You got
Yeah.
the connect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we do
hopefully.
play
I
favorites
actually
on
only
this
married
podcast.
Hunter so I could come on the podcast and do
Yeah.
Flubber. So
Just
we're actually
for
getting a
Flubber.
divorce next week. If you guys want to attend, Drew's the
It was
best
the
man at
long
the
con.
divorce.
Divorces should have best men.
All right. Thanks for listening. We love you. Bye bye.
Bye.